What's going on? Happy Football Friday. We made it. We made it. We got real games to talk about. Good morning. From the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I'm Robert Walsh. Chiefs fall to the Lions last night 21-20 in the first game of the season, and there were a lot of firsts in the game last night. It was the Lions' first Week 1 win since 2017. It was also Patrick Mahomes' first Week 1 loss and his first interception in Week 1. Getting his first interception for his first NFL touchdown, that's Brian Branch. Good for him in the game. A lot of firsts last night, but plenty more to come with a big football season ahead. A record deal last night as Joe Burrow has reached an agreement with the Bengals on a 5-year, $275 million extension. That includes $219 million guaranteed and makes him the highest paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow is now the fourth quarterback this offseason to sign a market-setting contract extension. It started with Jalen Hurts. He got 5 years for $255. Then Lamar topped that at 5 years and $260. Justin Herbert tailed him off at 5 years, $262. And now Joe Burrow blew it out of the water with 5 years, $275. Titans practice report yesterday saw two new additions for rest in DeAndre Hopkins and tight end Trayvon Wesco, but Trey Avery, Harold Landry, and Dylan Radunz were all still limited. Last practice report will come out later today to see the overall health of the group going into the Saints this Sunday. And on Sunday, you can catch the game right here on 104.5 The Zone. 9 o'clock, Lee Company countdown to kickoff. 11 o'clock, Titans Radio will take you all the way to kickoff. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. On your home for the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Happy Friday on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The weather is in the 60s. The Vols play tomorrow. The Titans play in 48 hours. The vibes are immaculate on a Friday morning edition of RKW. We've got the full crew in studio ready to go, including the man who will be on the sidelines Sunday when the Titans head down to the Big Easy. He is Ramon Foster. We've got Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. Friday, and we are acting like it.
We go act like it.
And well.
All the workers
That work 9 to 5.
All the
gonna
workers
do? What we
ready to
gonna
go
do?
at 6 a.m.
party.
We got our first woo from Retton parking lot this morning.
Friday.
Sad I missed that.
Yeah.
I know.
5:55,
Let's
baby.
go.
He was ready to roll.
Friday.
Bert got a little dose of it.
Okay.
You got too much of a dose of it.
50 cc's of woo on a Friday morning. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, yeah,
Good
yeah.
morning.
It's Friday. A little bit more energetic because we had football last night. Very
Yeah.
solid game on top of that.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about Miles or Thursday night.
Right. Sack Daddy.
Yeah, Sack Daddy. The young one had a game last night, man. It was first time we're playing football and stuff, right? I had to I'm gonna have to talk to him after the season. I'm not gonna be that dad that, hey, you gotta
Sure.
go get a college scholarship right now. Hell no. What are we talking about here? You feel me? So he's figuring out how to play. He's outside linebacker, DN, and then, of course, he
Okay.
plays tackle, okay?
Yeah, that's true to
Offensive
your
tackle.
heart
That
right
hit me.
there.
He looks like me out there, y'all.
Does he really?
No. It's scary.
So he doesn't look like you, as in he can tackle people?
No, Miles is a thick kid though. You see Miles,
you see
he
Miles.
hoops, he does all that. Like he looks like 11-year-old me.
Sure.
Like a thick, fit kid.
Thick
Arms
fit.
so long.
Mm-hmm.
He wearing 78 out there right now, and I'm like, this kid looks just like me. It's so bad. And, like, when I see his little face real smushed up in his helmet, I'm like,
That's me.
that's my baby boy.
Growing up quick.
He is. That one, somebody says, not the first kid that gets you leaving the house. It's the last kid leaving the house. And that has really kind of resonated with me because I'm like, you're not supposed to grow up. But last night, anyway, it was like end of the first half, and they had like 4 or 5 wide, and he's rushing, and I'm yelling from the stands, go sack him! Go hit him! He looks up, and he's like, okay, Dad.
I can just see that with his smushed up face.
Yeah, he looked back. And then his Uncle Josh was there, too, and him and the other DN, Aiden, big Aiden, man, big, tall kid, too, man. They went in, they had a party at the quarterback the end of half. And I was like, that's what you're supposed to be doing every single play. But, again, I'm more hands-off when it comes to youth stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be the intense, oh, my dad played in the NFL, I need to know. No, you need to learn the same way I did on certain things. But it was exciting to watch him while also watching football inside of Gallatin last night. Real cool.
Were you watching on your iPad again?
No, I was on the phone this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the phone. Use my brother-in-law YouTube TV.
Oh, wait, you transferred?
I'm going to do it today.
Ooh.
I'm going to do it today.
Here we go. That might be do it.
No. Kayla, that's going to do
That's
it.
going to do it.
That's going to do it,
Yes,
okay?
it
But,
is.
I feel good to have football. And
I know.
wife was complaining last night about it being too cold.
And what did you get her, Ramon? Not a blanket, not a coat.
No, I brought my
Not a thing.
Yeah.
Nashville SC
Good
scarf.
Lord.
I said, you can wear this, okay? Because I don't have any extra clothes because this is thick guy weather now, okay? And you just going to have to deal with it. Because if I dealt with this summer heat, you going to deal with this brisk, cool night that we have here in Middle Tennessee, if you will.
Just giving her a
You know what I'm
scarf.
saying? I
Well,
gave her a scarf.
You honestly should tell Miles to go ahead and move over to right tackle because I don't know if you heard last night in the NFL, you're allowed to false start on every play as long as you play with Patrick Mahomes.
Right?
So maybe it's actually a better time to play tackle. You can get a head start.
Hey, this is one of the situations as an offensive lineman, I'm hands off. Ain't nothing I can do to protect him, y'all. I couldn't defend him last night. J.J. Watt had a tweet last night, and I was like, why the hell are you talking about offensive linemen? Then I read all of it. I said, J.J.,
Yeah.
you right. He really had – I have no basis to argue on him for him today.
And usually we have all the bases to argue with.
I would
Right?
love to argue that one down. Come at the offensive lineman.
Not this time.
Right?
Hey,
Yeah.
We made it up.
I'm handcuffed.
It's fiction.
Yeah.
I'm handcuffed. It's something that I made up, okay? That's all it was. He was flagrant last night.
Yeah, it was pretty
man.
bad.
It was
Game was good, though.
Oh,
game was solid.
Game was
I was
awesome.
ticked off for the defenders last night because of his set.
yeah.
I was. I genuinely was. I
Wow.
was like, this is a smidge too far.
That's breaking news right there. Ramon was
Dang.
sympathetic for defensive linemen.
Damn.
We were having a good time.
Do you guys follow Duke Manyweather?
I do.
We've
We've had him on the show before.
He does a lot. Well, maybe we should reach out to him because he was defending the O-line last night
He was?
and putting a lot of stuff out there. And it was too long for me. It was kind of like good for you or sorry for your loss. I'm not reading all that. But he kept putting things out like it's not being called a false start because it's not a false start by categorical reasons. And I don't know. He's always defending the offensive lineman, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he does know what he's talking about from a schematical standpoint.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look good. No one else does that. If he can do that, why the hell can everybody else do it?
So he basically said that
Yeah, please give me the cliff notes.
There
I was
were-
too lazy.
there were league meetings and rules meetings all offseason, and still no flag was being called. He said, quote, I've spoken to the refs about this last year and this offseason. My explanation in my video from last year, which he did, is literally how they interpret and enforce the rule. So that was speaking about the false starts, which he said were not the issue.
Okay.
He did admit, though, that he is 100% too deep in his alignment. He
That's what
said
I had an
zero argument there. And then later on in the game, when Donovan Smith was actually, or Juwan Taylor was actually called for a false start on Kansas City's last drive, he said, okay, that's a false start. So he admitted it on that one. But he does have a video of the football moves back the second Juwan Taylor, the former Jacksonville right tackle, moves back as well.
There is grace on that. The tackles are usually more quick when it comes down to that because you got dudes running 4.5s coming off the edge. most of them do that. Trent Williams is notorious for it. Bakhtiari is Taylor was notorious for that.
You have defensive ends who are notorious for timing it perfectly as well, including Derek Barnett at Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, look around the league. Those dudes time that Clowney got in a lot of trouble with that. He's just one of the guys that come off top with that, top of the head with that one. There's a science to it, but his head not breaking the plane of the center's hip is the biggest issue of it all.
Right.
I'm be honest, I hated this set too. It looks cheap. His look, I was just like,
do you diagnose all that stuff so like intently on games, or it's just certain games?
Certain games I'll watch, especially when it's tight, like it was last night.
Yeah, that's what, especially the games.
Like that one, I'm gonna watch. And that ref, I'll say this, he was smart, and when he decided to finally throw the flag, I thought some people say we shouldn't wait all game to do. I thought in that moment, after telling them time and time again, I gotta get you now. I thought it was fair.
615-737-1045. Coming up this morning, Brent Hubbs joins us at 7:20. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, on a Titans Football Friday for the first time this season at 8:20. Sammy Kincaid talking high school football at 8:45. And 3 keys and 3 big things to watch for when the Titans take on the Saints. That's coming up in hour number 4 this morning at 9:20. But when we come back, an early fake punt set the tone from a VFL, Clarksville native, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and the Detroit Lions shocked the world last night. We dive into the details coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will for Kellum Stem Cell Institute. Will, I want to tell you, I went to their office yesterday, man. I'm going. I'm telling you, I'm sold on everything that they're laying down as far as overall body health. It's not necessarily just, the injections that you're getting. It is absolutely how you feel, what your body is going to feel like as far as recovery. And it's not just for guys like myself that played a hard, intense game like football. It's for your everyday worker. Your hands-on guy. Will, you were a runner for most of your life. Definitely will help you out.
Absolutely, Ramon. And anything with inflammation, that's what Dr. Kellum's holistic stem cell therapy, that's what it's going to take away. Some clients, especially athletes, even just use them for naturally enhanced performance and longevity. Dr. Kellum was with Team USA in Hungary. He was the team doc for the Boston Celtics and works with several major sports franchises and individual players. And these stem cells attack inflammation in the body, and we know that all autoimmune disorders derive from inflammation as well. You need to remember this website, KellumStemCellInstitute.com. That's KELLUM StemCellInstitute.com. Dr. Kellum is a renowned orthopedic surgeon who has devoted his career to this leading-edge holistic healing therapy. Remember the website, KellumStemCellInstitute.com, KELLUM StemCellInstitute.com.
So this is a small bird, too, for
That's
someone
right.
that's never seen a Bob
Yeah.
White before. It's this little round softball.
That's right. Yeah, they're not much bigger than my fist. They've got little legs, but they're a ground nesting, ground dwelling bird. If they never have to fly in their life, they wouldn't. Right? They just do that to get away from hawks and owls for the most part, or hunters. What they need is largely herbaceous plant communities. Right? So they need wildflowers. They need a small proportion of grasses. I don't need vast grasslands, right? I need stuff that most people would call weeds. Those are providing good brood cover, good nesting cover, a lot of insects, right? That's what chicks need to develop early.
Bridgestone Firestone is a quail focus
It
or
is.
focal area. So tell us a little bit why.
Yeah, it's largely because there are very few places that have wild quail in the state of Tennessee anymore. And there's dozens of different factors that lead into that, right? Everybody wants to jump right to predators, but it's a habitat issue, right? It's a landscape change, whether that's we're talking about development or whether we're talking about fire not being on the landscape anymore, or fields and young forests progressing into closed canopy forest, right? So the farm, just by nature of it being an open landscape that's been maintained that way, has held on to some birds. And compared to most other places in the state, we're one of the very few. On top of that, the potential for growing that population, it's higher here than just about anywhere else.
"40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind:
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
To sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
Friday morning rolls on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. You can watch the show on the F&M Bank chat. Joining the conversation on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch at Ramon, Kayla, Will is where we stream live on the artist formerly known as Twitter. 615-737-1045 is our number with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. And guys, I never thought that I would come in the studio and have people fighting over who loved the Lions the most first. But that is a thing that happened this morning.
Oh, my God. Ramon and I going at it early.
We did, Kayla. That's like, they've been my babies for a long time.
I said, no, remember when we both brought him up on the show?
You did. We brought him up. You're 100% correct.
But you did take him in your Thursday 3.
And that's why I was there. I was like, if you are a betting man, woman,
and
adult.
Ron Slay, too.
He did. He called him out yesterday on his parsley, too, that he had to cook it.
Nice.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, look, it seemed like he won big on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's freaking awesome.
drinks on him this weekend.
There
Ramon
you go.
now 500 in the Thursday 3, up to
Woo!
2-2.
Let's go.
You know what?
Wait, what's the other one?
I'm patting myself on the
What do
back
you mean?
on that one.
What's the other one
Because
this
I've
weekend?
been trash in my picks. That's
No,
the
I
reason
mean,
I'm so
you're
excited.
total 2-2 now.
I'm total 2-2.
Including last week.
He's total
Yes,
2. Okay, I
last
thought you
week.
meant this week. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was like, what other game happened?
My picks have been a little trash lately. I'm like, okay, I got this one right.
Redeeming yourself.
Yeah. It was a field thing on this.
I'm telling you, I told Travis that. He goes, what do you want me to do? Should I switch? The line went down or whatever. And I was like, I've had a gut,
Yeah.
but sometimes I go against my gut.
You know what? Sometimes you're right. They say your gut, when you have that gut feelings, because there's so many nerves that's connected to
Isn't
your
that
brain
weird?
too. It's a real thing. Yeah. It's a real thing. Look at me, a doctor again this morning.
Dr. Moan.
First Kelsey, now I'm telling you about the nerves in your stomach to your head.
Well, without Jalen Reeves-Maybin and a fake punt from within Detroit's own 30, this win might not have happened. 8-minute, 14-play, 91-yard drive for Detroit to take a 7-0 lead early in this game. Dan Campbell is not afraid of anybody, including the defending Super Bowl champions on their home field, and I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that happening last night, I said, "Oh, he's playing for keeps."
Sure.
He's playing for keeps. Go, and I felt like it was obvious they were going to try to attempt it, go for it at some point in time. As aggressive as that game was getting, they had to find a way to steal a possession. That possession may have actually saved them the game right there, because that late fourth down turnover that was idiotic from the doggone Chiefs, that end around, like technically that the ball should be going back to the Lions at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the way you got to look at it, with them stealing that possession right there. It was about as savvy and as obvious I thought they could have had in those moments. Again, having a big up guy like Jalen Reeves-Maybin run the ball up, they forced themselves into the Chiefs' territory last night.
Yeah.
I thought they were missing, and of course, their physical side, Kansas City, their imposing side, their identity. Some when it comes down to superstars get paid for a reason. They're all pros for a reason. They're Pro Bowlers for a reason. They're on the front of Nissan Stadium for a reason. It's because you need those guys to kind of set a tone so that everybody follows. Chris Jones not being there last night was a huge part of, I think, their identity crisis defensively. But special teams-wise, that's Dan Campbell we're talking about. I don't think he is above any extension of offensive plays or being out physical by anybody.
It reminded me of a little bit of how the Titans played Kansas City in the past. And Kansas City has not had a ton of success against the Titans under Mike Vrabel, if you think about it.
Yep.
Last year they did, but look at the years prior.
Yeah.
And I was really kind of reliving some of those matchups in a way with Dan Campbell and the Lions last night, with the physicality part of it. Vrabel has been known in the past to kind of throw in a trick play or two.
Absolutely.
We've seen that to kind of shift the momentum. The Lions last night also after that followed up by a great drive. So it was really cool watching yesterday, because I think we were both saying yesterday, specifically with the minus addition or subtraction of Travis Kelce probably, which he did not play, and Chris Jones, there could be some issues.
It could.
And specifically with Patrick Mahomes, who is a heck of a quarterback, the best there is right now.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a security blanket.
He did not.
And when things got tough, especially in that second half, who do you go to? Well, he couldn't count on many.
He went to Butterfingers.
Yeah.
Kayla, you bring up, I'm coming in here crashing the party. Sorry.
Crash
It's
it.
Friday.
Crash it.
It's game
Hey,
week.
you acting like it.
I'm acting like it.
You are acting like it.
Kayla, you bring up valid points because here's the thing. In the Titans' success over the Chiefs and anybody who's had success over Patrick Mahomes, the magic formula on defense is rush 4 and cover with the rest. When they let him break contain is when he ate them alive in moments last night, just like he does everybody else.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
But if you can frustrate him and have good coverage, which they did throughout that game, and then your most valid point is with no Kelsey, he has no real true wide receiver one. He's got a bunch of guys that you're like, okay, he'll just make them better. And that's true to a degree.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the thing is, you came up with the two most valid points, y'all two did, because that's the difference in this ball game.
Sure.
Eat it.
Friday
There we go,
special.
Rat.
Ryan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Right with
Get
the
you
Friday
some.
special.
Get you some. I love bonus.
Steal my mic anytime.
Yeah.
I was like, is he trying to screw with Ramon over here? I was like, I don't know
Usually.
what's going on.
Just excited.
Yeah.
Brett's ready to go.
Let's go.
We got an open door policy.
When we say
Me too.
it's Friday, act like it, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's safe to say the Chiefs could have used DeAndre Hopkins last night.
Oh, my. Couldn't be my team.
Couldn't be my team out here. Not
Could you
spending for a
imagine
wide
not
receiver.
signing DeAndre Hopkins this offseason?
I could. I saw it last night.
Right.
Can you imagine not having any money because of a player, only for that same player to hold out and not play in week one?
Yeah, that's
And-
that's an issue for them.
Can we show up to your
And
game?
show up, and he was there in a box.
He was armed by some mobsters.
Is
bro.
that disrespectful or is it just like I told y'all?
Dude, that's
I
crazy.
told y'all.
The crazy thing was, and I don't know, maybe from a player standpoint, it's different. Is he not allowed to be on the sideline? Like Kelsey was on the sideline and hurt. Like Chris Jones could have hypothetically been down there and talking to guys or telling them what he sees, but he was up in the stands. Is that like a
Not allowed.
not allowed thing?
Yeah, he
Okay.
hasn't technically reported. He hasn't signed off paperwork, did his physical, checked in with anybody. He can't be there right now.
Makes sense.
He can be in the building. He probably paid for that ticket.
It's frowned upon to be in the building, but there's no rule against it. From what I understood, he could be in the building because of the ring ceremony,
Okay.
and they were getting their Super Bowl rings.
Wow.
I doubt he would be in the building the next time they play in Arrowhead Stadium.
That's the first time I've ever seen a non-player,
I was
a
gonna ask you
holdout.
that.
I've never seen a holdout player show up.
Well, you played with a pretty notable holdout,
Yeah.
too, who sat out regular season games in Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I know, but he never showed up
That's
inside
right.
the building.
Is that a message directly? Is that
No.
what that is? I mean, or he just want to watch his team in person?
I guess it was they got the rings. He just stayed.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
I wouldn't have because I'd have known all the cameras were
I know.
on me. I'd have known. It would have been embarrassment because everything that went wrong was because he wasn't out there defensively. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Honestly, I think Kansas City's defense was good enough to win the game, though. I mean, they only gave up 14 points. If Kadarius Toney catches a ball that's in his hands
Yeah.
that isn't intercepted by Brian Branch and taken back for a touchdown, I think Kansas City wins this game easily. I think that Travis Kelce was the guy they missed the most. Patrick Mahomes' first 7 passes went to 7 different receivers. And Sky Moore had 0 catches on 3 targets, including a couple that went off his hands in the fourth quarter. Kadarius Toney, meanwhile, had 1 catch for 1 yard on 5 targets. Plus, you had Andy Reid and Matt Nagy got far too cute on a 4th down and inches where they put Blake Bell under center and then they run a sweep. Like,
Yep.
you have a linebacker behind center. Why is everyone not just running the Philadelphia Eagles QB sneak play with the biggest guy they have that can handle a under center snap? That is all anyone should be doing on 4th down and inches. It is too good to stop. It's too good. It's too good. I gotta find a way to make money off it. It's too good.
I look at one thing. Maybe they needed a agitator like Eric Bieniemy on their squad.
Ooh.
And maybe he was the one to say, Andy, that's too dumb right there.
Or that's too much.
Or
Like,
Patrick,
you know,
that's too
can get a
dumb.
little creative.
We know from the quarterback doc on
Yeah.
Netflix that Patrick Mahomes makes up half these plays.
Yeah, the ring around the
It's
rosy
too
one.
much. Yeah. And like even last night, he did the little fake thing, look away when he's snapping the ball and handing it off on the end around. I'm like, it's too cute.
Yep.
And
Especially game one.
That's too cute. Like, what are we doing? I get why you're doing it. But like Will said, line up behind them and run the ball up the middle. They were good. They're good enough up the middle. Their middle triangle of players, Creed and doggone Trey and golly, who's the other one from the Patriots? Thuney.
Joe Thuney.
Thuney. They're good. Why are we overcomplicating this thing? Where is Eric Bieniemy when you need him right now?
Did we ever think we'd be reversing that at this point? At least it's early, though, to do this, but it is kind of funny.
I know I'm overreacting. This week one.
It's kind of funny.
I'm emotional about football being back. But, like, that was a smidge too much last night.
From the offensive line perspective, guys, I wonder how differently false start is or isn't called the rest of the weekend. Because that's something the NFL doesn't like.
Yeah.
Is something being exposed as a loophole on primetime television. Because not every game is created equally. And if you've got a right tackle false starting on every play or getting too deep between the Cardinals and the Rams on a Thursday at 3:25, which probably isn't the best example either because that'd be at 3:25. But if you had Titans Saints and you had Andre Dillard getting too deep, that doesn't bring the same weight in NFL circles and in just the football conversation as when it happens in primetime by the defending world champs. I don't know. I mean, I think it's something that could change legitimately this weekend.
I see that being the case. Yeah. If I'm a premier outside rusher, I'm calling it out every single time.
Right.
And I know they do that.
And Mike Vrabel is on the sideline if it's happening on the offensive side. That's something Mike Vrabel's better at than most other coaches is A, understanding the rules, and B, complaining about them in the right way.
Politicking.
Yeah, he does a heck of a job of that.
That boy is scary.
Say what?
And throwing flags.
I would not want to. Like in the NBA, that's kind of a game too, right? Like getting the refs so that they're like, I don't want to hear from this dude again.
College basketball too.
Like Mike Vrabel is that coach who's going to get into them and they're like, dude, I don't want this big dude hollering at me in my ear, this big caveman.
That's true.
Between him and Dan Campbell, I'm like, I'm messing with those guys.
Easily the two most fighting coaches I'd expect to be on the doggone hit list, man.
Right.
But yes. If I am a coach this weekend, if I am a defensive line coach, I'm going up to the sideline judge. I'm talking to the umpire behind the guys too. I'm constantly chirping. The moment I see somebody not breaking the plane of the center's hips, that's where you have to line up. The centers, it should be like a flying V. Although last night there was one bird that just got out of order, and that
ducks fly together.
Ducks fly. That's essentially the way it's supposed to line up. Because there is a disadvantage to the tackle, seeing the ball snapped and being even with the ball. So you get just a little bit. That's the reason they give you the grace of breaking. Your helmet must break the helmet. Must break the hips of the center. It's where it's supposed to be. If you're behind that, you got to call it. And then also, to get by with that too, if I was Juwan Taylor, the right tackle from Kansas City who got a bag to leave Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken, to go sign with them, I'm asking Trey, my brother, can you stagger your legs a little bit more so that you can be backwards with me? Like, it's those types of little tricks of the trade. Those two are new guys right next to each other right now. So figuring that out, I said that in the F&M Bank chat. Trey has to raise up, has to train his right tackle a little bit more on how they need to do things. It ain't the fact that he can't do it. You don't get paid like that if you're not capable of doing the job. It's a matter of you expanding upon what your professionalism is. And Juwan Taylor didn't have that last night.
615-737-1045, the number if you want to join in on the discussion this morning. Caleb in Nashville is up first on the phone lines with us. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Caleb?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
I just wanted to ask y'all about Tooney?
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, so all the drops that he had, everyone had some drops there, but, all the drops he had, and then I think he was the one that got them that interception, the pick six. What do you guys think happened with him, and then do you guys think that was the difference of them winning or losing the football game? I'm going to hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
You're welcome.
5 targets.
Yep.
1 catch.
That's not good.
Even worse than that, though, too, Sky Moore, 3 targets, no catches. they have a wide receiver problem. What happens to a guy like Kadarius Toney? He gets embarrassed in front of his teammates on a day like today.
Sure, and he's not brand new to the team. Look, he was brought there last year.
Yes.
Like, by now, you better have your ish together with Patrick Mahomes. I would think you'd have that trust built by then. And then you go and do that in an opener when you need to stand up the most because you don't have Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a crap situation for them.
Moving forward, I would say that his role probably goes down the totem pole a little bit more until he proves it. I got to see it.
I thought he was the reason they lost last night. Kadarius Toney.
They had, 3rd and 1s and 2s? He missed the ball?
Well, it's just missing the one on the Brian Branch pick 6 and then didn't try to tackle him. He's one of the few guys fast enough on the field to actually tackle Brian Branch, who, by the way, on that interception return, hit 20.74 miles per hour. Only 3 defenders reached faster speeds on defensive scoring plays all of last year.
Wow.
He looks pretty good when he's not running behind Jalen Hyatt 20 yards behind him.
You silly.
His draft stock, you said, went down because of that game.
Yeah,
against
literally. He's a
Tennessee
second-round
last
pick
year.
because Jalen Hyatt just scored another touchdown against Alabama.
Tell you who else. The Giants would not be taking back Kadarius Toney either, speaking of the Giants, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have Jalen Hyatt.
They have.
Exactly.
They have Jalen Hyatt at home.
I doubt this will happen, but Kadarius Toney's situation is this. He could be cut and be they don't owe him any money. His guaranteed money is probably mostly paid out right now.
I don't know if he'd get cut, though.
He could at this point, and you don't owe him much at all. He's not guaranteed much. I think the Giants have paid out most of that, or last year he did too. He's a first rounder. That 5th-year option is a thing.
Is it his 3rd year?
3rd year.
I don't believe his contract will be extended to a 5th year. That's
there we go.
Certainly true.
Let's say that. Then.
Yeah.
That's very fair. What was Justin Ross after the touchdown?
Played 3 snaps going into the 4th quarter. Justin Ross.
But he looked so good in training camp.
It's like they had just used him as a red zone guy.
Right.
I know. That's going to be the thing. Oof. That's the theme of this weekend. But wait, my favorite preseason player only played 5 snaps.
Yeah.
Why?
So true.
Because they're not that good at football.
Exactly.
I mean, they're good at football, but
They're on special teams.
this is real football now.
There's levels to it.
There's levels to this young boy.
Young boy. Justin Watson, though, solid for them. It was
That's all they had.
Last night he was, man, 2 for 45. Marquez Valdez-Scantling also 2 for 48. Patrick Mahomes led this team in rushing.
Yeah.
It's not great.
That is not what you want.
It's not great.
I'm not out. We're not out.
No, of course not. It's one game. We've made this mistake before, and they've still won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Speak for yourself. They're not winning another game this year. They look terrible.
Look at Bird. I love
Against the grid.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, why Mac Brown is livid at the NCAA and why it maybe partly is his fault that one of his players isn't playing this season. That's coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling here for my friends at Lee Company. Do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Or do you have wall switches that just don't always seem to work? Well, these all seem to be simple issues, but they are rarely do-it-yourself projects. Dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional. So you got to call the pros over at Lee Company. Trust their electrical team. They can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off an electrical service call for a limited time. That's what I love about Lee Company. They've got the best pros ready to help you. They've also got the best deals out there to keep it reasonable for you as well. You can contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or go to leecompany.com for an appointment. That's $20 off an electrical service call for a limited time. Do what I do and trust the folks who have been trusted in Middle Tennessee for nearly 80 years. 615-567-1000, online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Friday morning continues on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. You can join the discussion at 615-737-1045 or in the F&M Bank chat, where you can watch the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We've got details on the newest, biggest contract in the NFL coming up in 15 minutes. Man, finally got paid up in Cincinnati. Details on that coming up here at 7 o'clock. But yesterday, guys, the NCAA did more NCAA-like things, making receiver Tez Walker ineligible this season. Walker in North Carolina, his new team, which was going to be his third team, has spent months appealing the NCAA's initial decision to reject his waiver to play in 2023 as a two-time transfer on multiple grounds: mental health challenges that he's experienced, and then that he never played at his first school, North Carolina Central, because its season was canceled as a result of the COVID pandemic. So he started at North Carolina Central, transferred to Kent State, and now filed a waiver in support of playing closer to home for North Carolina and head coach Mack Brown. And yesterday, his final efforts were denied. And essentially, Mack Brown released about as strong of a statement as one can release on this, and said that this was about as bad as it gets. Says, plain and simple, the NCAA has failed Tez and his family, and I've lost all faith in its ability to lead and govern our sport. Mm-hmm. Says it makes no sense, and it never will. Ultimately, guys, I thought Andy Staples had an interesting take on this on Twitter of On3. Said that coaches need to start complaining when stuff like this happens to a player that doesn't play for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because coaches have asked for a two-time transfer rule and for this to not happen. Essentially, coaches have asked for, hey, transfer portal's too crazy. You guys open Pandora's box. It is one thing to let a guy transfer once, but a second time is one too many. Shut this down. And now the NCAA is doing it, and coaches like Mack Brown get up in arms when it happens to their own player. The way you change this back and help guys like Tez Walker is coaches all around the country should be outraged about this. And they should be, because not playing because of COVID at North Carolina Central is plenty of reason to be able to transfer a second time, in my opinion.
And if anything, in my opinion, you should be putting some sort of, things together. If you do transfer twice, this is the reason you can, right? Mm-hmm. There can be the mental health part of it. If it does come back to the COVID years that you missed with that, if that is something they want to keep, where they don't want to get it even more messy, at this point, I think it is what it is, though. I think then they can put in those stipulations. But for something like this to happen at this point, with everything that's going on in college football anyway, with, the transferring, the portal, it is so sad for this kid specifically. I feel for him because it is such a mess. And for the NCAA then to come in, and I know that's one of the things they do now. They still do. It's kind of just like, really, though? Like, really? Yeah. And you're right, though, Will. You've got to do something as coaches. Get the coaches together. They're stronger than the NCAA. Yep. Most everything is at this point. But you got to take a stand.
You do have to take a stand. And my thing is this. He has a valid point. His offensive coordinator, he went to go play for at Kent, left and went to Colorado. Yep. That entire staff got cleaned out as far as the expectation of playing. That is a valid reason, too. This kind of sucks. You got to look at it in a very circumstantial situation right here. They've lost it. The NCAA have. They've officially lost it when you go do stuff like this, especially in a situation where he didn't play and then his staff left. My question is going to always be this. Why does nobody stop the coaches from leaving? Yeah. That's the biggest issue. True. Nobody stops the coaches. Like, you guys want to talk about stability and integrity and keeping people accountable. Like, let's talk about the coaches that can leave. You got an entire staff, for the most part, that left Kent State. You want this kid to stick there when that's not the guy, maybe not the scheme, maybe not the situation that's going to help him get to the next level? No, that's trash. Great right point. There. That's trash.
That's why those need to be stipulations in if they want to keep this freaking whatever two-transfer rule. You got to put things in like this, though.
You have to.
That's just, you can't not.
Or just be a human about it.
Yeah.
I think that's what this one comes down to, because I think the rule in itself is fine. yes, a kid should not be able to transfer twice without some kind of additional burden of proof, right? Because coaches are now retiring and leaving at such a high rate that coaches need a little bit of protection in this too, while understanding that coaches can just up and leave whenever they want. So why can't the players, right? Yeah. There has to be a level of nuance to this. I think where this becomes difficult is COVID and the pandemic and that 2020 season should still be the ultimate, okay, we'll give you a pass. That should be the ultimate, hey, look, you were at North Carolina Central. You never played a snap for this team. Why is that being counted as one of the teams that you played for when in reality, you never actually suited up and played for them on the field? Yeah. That to me is the caveat that makes this specific case a completely ridiculous one. I do think, though, this changes when coaches in the ACC that have to play against North Carolina, who benefit from Tez Walker not playing, also join North Carolina in calling out the NCAA. Because right now, this college football world is more athlete-centered than it has ever been. We live in an athlete-empowered era, and that is a great and wonderful thing. Use that to your advantage. Please. Member schools of the NCAA. Schools around the SEC, anyone in Power 5 should be reaching out to the NCAA saying, hey, what the heck? Why are you guys not using COVID and not letting this kid play who didn't play a second for North Carolina Central? It's one of the teams that he represented. That's ridiculous. NC State, Duke, Clemson, Florida State. Those are the schools that can actually create change in this because they have a dog in the fight, and now they need to stand up for their quote-unquote brothers and sisters in college athletics. Otherwise, this is just going to continue, and those with the competitive advantages are going to reap the benefits, and the only people that end up paying the price, as always, are the athletes.
Mic drop, Will.
615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, the Bengals have a long-term solution at quarterback. Joe Burrow is the highest-paid player in NFL history. Some big contract numbers to tell you about coming up next.
It's football season, and it's time to switch to Zen Sports, the fastest-growing sportsbook in Tennessee, changing the bonus game with their cash rewards program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with the referral code, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for the first 15 days of betting. Think about that for a second. It's insane. If you'd have signed up last night and bet for the Lions, guess what? You'd have got money back on top of that, on top of your wins. If you listen to us, we would have told you. Pick the Lions last night. But if you have friends who bet on Zen Sports too, share your Zen Sports referral bonus code with them. You will earn 3% of the betting volume for the first 6 months of betting on Zen Sports with no cap to how much you can earn. What are you waiting for? Stop wasting time and money on other sportsbook when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet will thank you later. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years and older and present in Tennessee to bet.
What's going on? 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Chiefs fall to the Lions last night, 21-20 in the first game of the season, and there were a lot of firsts last night. It was the Lions' first win in Week 1 since 2017. It was also Patrick Mahomes' first Week 1 loss and his first interception in Week 1. That interception, it was picked off by Brian Branch, playing in his first game, getting his first interception for his first NFL touchdown. A lot of firsts last night, but plenty more to come in a long NFL season. Yesterday, a record deal got done with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, reaching an agreement for a 5-year, $275 million extension that includes $219 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest-paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow is now the fourth quarterback this offseason to sign a market-resetting contract extension. The first was Jalen Hurts, getting $255 million. Then Lamar came in for $260. Justin Herbert behind him for $262.5. And then Joe Burrow topping all of them at $275. The Titans practice report yesterday saw 2 new additions. Only for rest, though. No need to worry. DeAndre Hopkins and tight end Trayvon Wesco. But Trey Avery, Harold Landry, and Dylan Radins were all still limited. The last practice report will come out later today to see the overall health of the group going into the Saints on Sunday. But you can check out that game right here on 104.5 The Zone on Sunday. Lee Company countdown to kickoff starts at 9 and Titans Radio at 11, taking you all the way up to kickoff. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home of the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Friday morning edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors and ready to go on a beautiful morning in Nashville, Tennessee. When trust matters, count it All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. We've got Ramon Foster. We've got Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh keeping us on the air. My name is Will Bowling, and we have got a Friday morning that we're properly acting like.
Come on, y'all. Come on.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
And we gone.
Party.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Friday.
Oh,
that's right.
Friday, baby.
Playing at all 32 NFL cities today, baby.
Woo-wee.
Or I wouldn't say cities because there's multiple in the same city, New York.
31.
True.
31.
Considering Kansas City might not be celebrating much of anything this morning.
Oh, so sorry. Couldn't be my team.
But your Dan Campbell's going to get him some of that Motown this morning, ain't he?
Yes, he is. Home of Motown, baby.
I feel like there's a lot of people that are, I'm excited for Dan Campbell because he's not a traditional hire. I've been on the soapbox a few times about I'm tired of the same recycling. Oh, I'm tired of he comes from that guy's tree. I'm tired of this dude went 5-18 the first time he was a head coach and he deserves another opportunity. Nah, man, I think it's fair to have some new people come in. I will even say like Sean McVay, watching him come in as such a young dude too. Vrabel coming in as a former player also. The way the Steelers hired Mike Tomlin, certain people that you say, you know what? I'm glad you did something different. Don't go get a Matt Rule because he's crushed it at Baylor. Like, no, really vet these people and see, I feel like players making a 53-man roster sometimes is based upon the organization that they're drafted to or free agent to, which will also lead to their success rate. Sometimes it just don't work out like that.
Sure.
I think Detroit needed a coach like him.
And I think that's why I like that team. I just like the way they do things. I like how they run business. I like how they have built this team up from the ground, right? That's what I respect about what Dan Campbell and company has done there. So I always root for the underdog anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun watching something like that last night in game 1 of the season, and they take down the reigning Super Bowl champs.
And if you remember with Dan Campbell too, he was the interim coach, I believe, when Joe Philbin got fired in Miami. He finished the season out there, got a couple head coaching looks, but didn't get it. Inevitably signed with the Saints to be, I believe, their tight ends coach. And it took him a while to get back to where he was getting looked at for head coaching jobs. He almost got passed over for Iowa State Matt Campbell.
Iowa State Matt Campbell?
Right.
Really?
He made jokes about it in his opening press conference. Like, I'm so glad that guy denied the job, so I was able to be here.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're pretty happy with who they got.
I'd say it worked out well.
It worked out well.
Took his first kneecap of the season last night in Kansas City.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what they should say when they take a knee.
Yum, 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 yum.
And the Lions are taking a knee.
Yeah. That's great.
Hey, take us back to 2017, Bert.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I wonder if they get a little calf and a little thigh with that, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just get the kneecap. It's like eating neck bones. Ain't much meat on the neck bones.
Slay said, the thighs are good. Remember he had chicken thighs for the first time a while ago, and he was like, I never knew how good the thighs were.
Chicken thighs are outstanding.
I mentioned neck bones.
Outstanding.
Oh, God.
Will eyes went up like neck bones.
How do you know what in the world?
I couldn't think there was much meat on that.
That was the best part of the pandemic was when wings got so outrageously priced that Wing Zone went from selling wings to thighs.
Yeah.
They were incredible.
Yeah.
Wingstop.
Facts.
Wing Zone, we'll call them. No free shout-outs.
615-737-1045, our number. The Bengals gave Joe Burrow a contract last night.
They did.
I, for one, am shocked. No,
Yeah,
there was never
right?
any doubt of this happening. 5-year, $275 million extension. That includes 219.01. Got to get that .01 in there. Million guaranteed, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. After months of negotiations, the Bengals have their guy long term.
Yeah.
Long term.
Now, this is average per year makes him the highest, right? Because I think Patty Mahomes
Correct.
is still the highest overall when it comes to the overall pay,
He
right?
signed a 10-year, $450 million.
Okay.
And the highest guarantee still goes to Deshaun Watson.
That's right, because it's fully guaranteed, which
Fully
does not
guaranteed.
happen usually. I'll just say this about Joe Burrow. No surprise that he got a deal like this. I think we were all anticipating it would come at some point. To this point, what he's did, he deserves it, right? He's been a reason why that franchise has turned around. Now, he hasn't got the ring yet, and that's what they're hoping now that they can do in the next couple of years while the window is there.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy. And Joe is a guy that has dealt with some injuries, and you hope and pray that that's not going to be an issue moving forward. Just for him to stay healthy. But he deserves it, man. Seeing him from high school, I covered him up in Athens in Ohio, seeing him be the backup at Ohio State who couldn't get his start there and then go to LSU for 1 year and have that success and then straight to the NFL. The journey has been amazing. Like, congrats to Joe Burrow, but now you got to live up to it.
He is one of the success stories of what the transfer portal is about, should be in situations like that. We were just speaking about the North Carolina situation, Will. That's what it should be, man. Who was it? Tez Walker.
Yep.
And his family. This is what you're looking for. That actually spun Joe Burrow into who he is right now because he had the ability to leave Ohio State and go to LSU.
Yeah.
His deal, you look and read the numbers, is insane. An average annual salary of $55 million. But, of course, I think Cincinnati did a smart thing. I think they're going to delay a good bit of this money, give him a big signing bonus up front. It has, right now in 23, his base salary be just over $1 million. Roster bonus of $4.5 million this year, and his cap hit will just be 11.5. They still got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to pay right after that. I think he's getting a little bit of that push down the line money when it comes to what he's got going on too.
You think they can sign both?
No, I don't.
Got to let one go.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is going into the final year of his deal. Jamar Chase becomes extension eligible next offseason. I think the conversation will quickly become for Cincinnati, how many guys can we get to play at a T. Higgins level who cost us a lot lower of a number than T. Higgins does, as long as they're playing next to Jamar Chase. Because that's the decision Kansas City did the opposite of. They decided we would rather continue to build from day 2 and 3 of the draft and on less proven, big athletic ability guys and not pay Tyreek Hill $15, $20 million a season and trust that our quarterback can make any wide receiver that level. Worked out pretty well for him. They won a Super Bowl off of that.
Yeah.
But now they are now in the further they get into Patrick Mahomes' big contract, they've got to figure out more creative ways to get guys the football. And they're going to lose OCs. They're going to keep losing linemen. I mean, it's going to get tougher for both Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes the more they get into their careers. I think Cincinnati, I would expect, will go the opposite direction and say, Jamar Chase is too pivotal. You got to keep those two guys together for their entire careers, as long as you possibly can. And that might not be practical, but I would expect that Jamar Chase stays and T. Higgins is somewhere else next season.
They have a very expensive team.
Yes, they
Cincinnati Bengals do.
Absolutely.
If they do not cash in on this Super Bowl, I'm talking about within the next 18 months or so.
Yeah, they would find themselves in the position Buffalo is now in, where you feel like you've still got a young quarterback, but you're going into what feels like a closing window, because those windows always close faster than you think they're going to.
Yes, they do, man. Orlando Brown Jr., let's not forget about him. They gave him $33.7 million last year. DJ Reader's one of the highest paid nose tackles in all of football. Trey Hendrickson is out there. They better cash in real fast, y'all.
And real quick, cousin Danny of the Burrow, you're right. Yeah, he was at LSU for 2 years. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, the cap
You're
hit
correct.
for Orlando Brown is just $10.3 million. Cincinnati clearly good at cap math and gymnastics. You're going to have to be now, paying a quarterback the highest contract in NFL history. 615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get to more phone calls later on in hour 2. But coming up next, our weekly conversation with VolQuest's Brent Hubbs. Tennessee loses a starter starting this weekend against Austin Peay. Who fills in the most between two Middle Tennessee products in Arion Carter and Caleb Herring? Brent Hubbs answers that and much more as Tennessee gets ready for Austin Peay coming up next. Friday morning continues on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and way down yonder behind the glass, we've got Robert Walsh. Got distracted. Making the show happen. Joining us on the phone lines this morning from Knoxville, he is VolQuest's Brent Hubbs. And honestly, Brent, at this point, I really look forward to this conversation. A, because you've got great insight. B, because I just get to listen to a little bit of country music. It's a win-win on Friday mornings. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. What a week. We got Sunday school teacher Mike Brown eviscerating the NCAA. We got 3 volunteer guys on a chain crew getting criticized for eating a hot dog. We got Brian Kelly saying he was misquoted only to have the audio revealed that he wasn't misquoted. And last night, we had a guy jump off sides and line up wrong for 58 minutes of a football game without a penalty. Football is back.
That's right.
Football
Hit the
is back.
horns, Bird. Hit the horns, Bird. Oh.
Look at Brent just cutting a promo for us this morning. I mean, honestly, Brent, you're 100% right. And, I mean, it is crazy. We were talking about it last night about the offsides and Juwan Taylor jumping off false starts for 58 minutes. And it's bad, Brent, when Ramon Foster takes the defensive line side, doesn't even defend the right tackle.
I had nothing.
Yeah, when he doesn't go with his boys, his boys doing bad.
Crazy.
What's going on there?
Hey, Brent, I couldn't do it, man. And I was ready to go at J.J. Watt on social media. I was like, he kind of right. So I left it alone, man. It takes a strong person to admit when you're wrong.
Oh, goodness. I love it. Brent Hubbs with us this morning. Brent, before we get to the notes going into Tennessee and Austin Peay this weekend, you bring up a good point with Mac Brown and the NCAA. And we were talking about the take Andy Staples had of On3 yesterday, saying maybe the way this changes is when rivals of North Carolina and schools like that start to take up for players who don't play for their teams in scenarios like this with the second transfer. What did you make of this decision yesterday and the ensuing reaction from it?
Well, it's the inconsistencies of the NCAA that drive you crazy because, and not to I mean, I don't know every detail of the story. I know the new NCAA rule where they're trying to prevent multiple, transfers and that grad transfer deal. But JT Daniels is eligible at his 6th school.
Yep.
I mean, that's the poster child for transferring. So if he's eligible this year, how do you justify, throwing out a rule that says you can't transfer a second time? We're trying to prevent that. Now, I will say this, and Andy Staples made this point. I think it's a valid point. The coaches all scream that this needs to be cleaned up and tightened down because it was out of control. So they tightened it up, and here we are. It's just inconsistent in how they've done that. And it's just, a microcosm of the issues and the mess that the NCAA has going for them right now with the various inconsistencies of different rulings and things like that. I hate it for the kid. I don't know all the mental health stuff and all those types of things they were talking about. But, when you see guys transferring multiple times to get to play, he doesn't fall into that category. It's a bit of a head scratcher for sure. Yeah,
it's crazy. JT Daniels can probably take a couple classes and technically get a degree and be a grad transfer from schools like Georgia and West Virginia, but it just played his 3rd game at Texas, which is more than Texas's starting quarterback has played, which is just unbelievable. Brent, for Tennessee, there's one transfer who will be unavailable this weekend and for a significant amount of time, and Keenan Peely announced with an injury that comes down and on a play that he didn't even know when it happened against Virginia. How much does this staff believe in Caleb Herring and Arion Carter filling in for him starting this weekend?
Well, they believe in those guys, but nobody's sitting here saying there's no drop-off. But because Keenan Peely's an experienced guy whose athletic ability had clearly shown up as he was year 2 removed from the ACL. He had impressed Tennessee's coaching staff the entire fall camp with his physical ability, the ability to run sideline to sideline. He had played really well for Tennessee. So it's a tough loss. Now, Elijah Herring's got some experience, and he played well in the opener. And I think he'll play well in this game. He and Arion Carter have to use this game the right way. They have got to really be dialed in, focused, really build and learn and grow in this game to get ready for conference play and what's coming next, because there is no easing them into it with a rotation. They are Elijah Herring's the man right now in the middle, and he's got to go. So this is a big week, and next week on the practice field is a big week for him.
And good thing for me is this will give me an opportunity to stop getting Elijah and Caleb confused. Having watched them both in high school football, you'd think I'd have it down by now, but I guess not yet.
Not at all, man. Brent, last week, I didn't see you here in Nashville, man, because there was a lot of everything going on. What was most intriguing to me? That defense. How did you take their first stance against an ACC opponent? It wasn't like it was just School of the Blind. What did you take from those guys, man? James Pierce Jr., goodness gracious.
Well, speed, and our friend David Cutcliffe always said speed never had a bad day. And you can overcome a lot of mistakes when you have speed. And I think Tennessee's speed on the defensive front showed up big time. As you mentioned, that's against another Power 5 school. And it wasn't just James Pierce, although he showed out with it. It was Omar Norman Lott. It was the twitch of Amari Thomas. It was, Aaron Beasley, Kamal Haddon. I mean, that was a fast-looking defense that played with a ton of confidence last week, which was the biggest takeaway for me. I thought that A, they're more athletic. They are faster, but B, I think you play faster when you're just cutting it loose and going. And I think this defensive side of the ball fully understands this defensive scheme of Tim Banks. I don't think Banks is overcomplicating things. I think he's letting his players go play. And as a result of that, they look like a really fast defense on Saturday, which is a great sign for Tennessee moving forward.
And I just, if I'm going to bash an offensive lineman, I also got to put one on the pedestal. Brent, you know me, man. You absolutely know me. And you know where I'm headed, okay? I'm headed to the tight red zone in Nissan Stadium at the left tackle position where somebody got carried into a camera. It kind of reminds me of myself. I spiked the ball into a camera and cut it out. This individual threw a man into a camera, man. John Campbell Jr. Can we please elaborate on him just for a little bit and what he's bringing to this OL?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was beyond impressed. And I thought he had a solid fall camp. But in the spring, he was a guy who clearly was trying to figure out the tempo of the offense. And he weren't sure. He wasn't in great shape. He had been battling a little injury. So here's the big high-profile transfer. And you're kind of like, okay. And then, nobody pushed him in fall camp. It was his spot from day one. He was the left tackle. And then you go and watch him play, and his athleticism shows up. That play went viral, which is great. But it was his athleticism, his ability to pull, the different things that they could do with him and with that offensive line, but particularly with him in the run game, is pretty fun to watch. Tennessee's fortunate that they got him here. He knows Joe Milton. Joe Milton pushed to get him to visit. He almost didn't visit. Weather caused flight delays for his visit, so he was just going to cancel it. Joe and Tennessee and coaches, worked him to get him to come and take the visit. Come take the visit. He never dreamed he would like Tennessee, because his perception of Tennessee was cows and no buildings and outhouses and all the other things that all the other people around the country seem to have about East Tennessee. But he got up here and he really liked the players and he really fit in. And that's a tight-knit room, Ramon. You've been in those rooms. You guys are a little different now. You march to the beat of a different drum, and you're kind of in your own world, and you're not afraid to tell a coach, hey, he don't fit. We don't want him here. This guy on his visit, everybody in the room said, he'd sing great with us. He would be a great addition. He's actually become a pretty vocal leader for him on offense, and is a fun soundbite and a good kid, and by all accounts, and pretty impressive football player with what he did on Saturday. I thought he played well, not just on the one play. I thought he played well through the whole game.
So Tennessee's good when there's a John on the team, a Big John, whether it's Big John Henderson or Big John Campbell is what you're telling me.
Well, you know what? When you're built like that and can move like that with both of those guys, they can be John, Jerome, Joanna, whatever they want to be at that point in time. It doesn't matter, Ramon. When God gives you that, you're going to be good regardless of your name.
No doubt.
Brent Hubbs joining us now. And Brent, speaking of the offensive line, saw some rotation there in game one. Cooper May's still out. How overall do you feel like the coaching staff felt about the line to start off the season?
Well, I think they felt like they were solid in their communication. They didn't have a lot of busts. They didn't have a lot of mistakes there. They obviously made some mistakes. It wasn't perfect, but Snaps were good. We saw Virginia struggle with the snaps. It really messed them up in the run game trying to get anything going. But Ollie Lane and Dane Davis did a solid job with snaps. Andre Kirk was probably a little better than I thought he would have been or was. He played pretty decent. Things to build on. This week will be a little bit different. Virginia was pretty base up front. They wanted to stem and move around pre-snap. It's hard to do when Tennessee goes fast. That eliminates a lot of that defensive stemming where you try to move right into snap count because you're just fighting to get lined up. This is an Austin Peay team that will come from a variety of places. They'll play a bunch of different coverages. Joey Halsey said Wednesday night they played 9 different coverages in Southern Illinois' first offensive drive. They'll go cover 0. They'll drop 8. They'll come from the boundary. They'll blitz from different directions. So communication is going to be paramount this week for that offensive line. You got to identify the front. Got to identify who's coming. So I think this is another solid test for this group because not a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. Are you going to turn somebody loose? Are you going to slide your protection and do all the things you need to do to protect Joe Milton?
Three-headed monster of Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, and Dylan Sampson. How pleased were you just to see the utilization of them this past weekend? And how big could this be for Tennessee this year to have a group like that?
Well, you can't win without more than one running back. That's just a given. You got to have multiple guys. I think Jalen Wright is the clear-cut number one. And I think if healthy in a big ball game in critical situations when you got to have your run game going, I think you will see the carries get more out of balance and Jalen Wright will get more carries. But I thought Jabari Small ran hard. He had a little bit of trouble with his footing. He kind of tackled himself a couple times. Dylan Sampson, I thought, hit it up in between the tackles harder and better, played with better pad leverage Saturday than he played with last year as a freshman, which is to be expected. You're going to see all those guys play. And I think Jerry Mack's not afraid to rotate whenever he needs to rotate, and that's an unselfish group. I mean, heck, Jabari Small tapped out and gave up a touchdown. He would have scored a touchdown, but he tapped and said, hey, I need a break. And Dylan Sampson said, hey, I'll take my third one of the day. I'm pretty happy with that. Here, put me in there. But, you know, they're an unselfish, tight-knit group. Jalen Wright's had a great offseason. I mean, a great offseason. He's much better than he's been. The one thing that I was impressed with, and I think we all wondered, what's the adjustment to the offense without Hendon Hooker? You saw a lot more running back involvement in the passing game on Saturday as a bit of a way. Now, you know, if they're blitzing linebackers, those guys might have to stay in and block and can't slip out and be as available. But with the way Virginia was playing, they could slip out of the backfield, and I thought Joe Milton did a terrific job of hitting those guys in stride. You don't want to spin your running back around to catch a ball. He did not do that and allowed them to go make a play, which was kind of an extension of the run game. So there's a lot to be happy with that running back group. They've got to stay healthy, but you certainly feel like Tennessee's in pretty decent shape with tailback right now.
Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com with us. Brent, with Squirrel White and Cooper Mays, what's their status moving forward, and can we expect to see one or both of those guys in Gainesville next weekend?
Well, we'll see on Cooper. Cooper's done more stuff the last 3 days than he's done since he had the procedure. He'll do some rehab stuff this weekend. We'll see where he's at Monday and Tuesday of next week. You know, that's going to be just how does he feel, what kind of pains he's dealing with. Are the doctors and the surgeon going to clear him for contact and all those types of things? And that's a decision that, quite frankly, is a bit out of Cooper's hands. Squirrel's fine. Squirrel's going to be fine. I mean, the only issue with Squirrel's not real big. And so the concern there is that he may get banged up from time to time. They may be cautious with him this week, but he should be 100% ready to go when they go to Gainesville.
Brent, I have another submitted question from our favorite listener, Grant R. in Blount County, who may or may not work with you, who asks, what was it like covering Conridge Holloway in the 70s?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, send me his address.
Grant is out of line.
I'm going to pull up on
Grant
him, okay?
R. might need a 1-week suspension for being out of line on this one.
Grant R. Loves to refer to me as the old head because I've been around since the beginning time. I did not cover Kindridge Holloway, I will say that. But I have gotten to know Kindridge through the years, and just a delight to deal with, and a great storyteller. Such a tremendous impact in the world of college football, the SEC, the University of Tennessee, a true trailblazer. Loves his alma mater, loves Tennessee, and can still throw a football. And has tried to show me. This is probably when Ramon was on the practice field and practices were fully open. Here's a shock to you: the media, who always claims about we're mad that practice gets closed early now. We got really bored in mid-October after we'd watched our 75th straight football practice, and it's all the same thing to us that we don't understand. Kindridge, during some stretch periods and different things, would grab a football and start throwing it. And if you threw one back and you threw it like I threw it, he just shook his head, and he would come over like your dad would. He'd put your hands on the laces. He'd try to work on your release. He'd try to help you out because he was so embarrassed by the way that you threw the football. Unfortunately, he never got me fixed. But I've had some great road trips with Kindridge, spent some great time with Kindridge, and I'm certainly happy to see that Tennessee is honoring him and recognizing him in this anniversary. Now, when they go to Atlanta in 2 years to take on Syracuse, I vote for Tennessee to wear the original Kindridge Holloway uniforms on the road with the white jersey and the orange smock. So I'm already advocating that they should get those things ordered. Let's go back and wear one of his true originals when Tennessee goes to Atlanta next as an appreciation for Kindridge Holloway, because that'd be year 53 since he was a starter at Georgia Tech and introduced himself to the college football world.
That's awesome. I have a quick one for you real quick, too. Word was that Joe pretty much called out his wide receivers a little bit, too. How did that go, and what do we need to expect from them moving forward if he's taking that on and challenging them, too?
Well, I mean, I think it's a great thing. I mean, listen, you got to have leadership, and leaders can't be afraid to stand up and speak. It can't always be rah-rah, hey, we're great. I think he did it. I think he has spoke and challenged those guys in the right way. I don't think there's anything malicious about it, but they've got to get on the same page. And I think they had some issues where their route adjustments weren't exactly what they needed to be. And Joe said, there's some places some guys took off, and that can't happen. You got to have those guys. And I think part of his message was, look, if you're tired, tap out. Yeah. We'll play somebody else, but we've got to go at our speed to be fully effective. I can't have you guys at half speed or taking a play off, because that's going to lead to a turnover. That's going to lead to a problem. So his challenge to them was, hey, you got to go. And if you can't go, you need to let somebody know you can't go. We'll put somebody else in there that can. We got enough depth on this team. So I think it's a positive sign for Joe as a leader that's what they're doing, or he's doing.
Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com, our guest this morning at Brent_Hubbs, where you can find him on Twitter. Great stuff as always, Brent. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy football.
Thanks, Brent.
Absolutely.
Brent. Good.
There's Brent Hubbs with us, who did not cover Kindridge Holloway, but does know how to throw a football with him in practice.
I think
Grant is out of line.
He is out of line.
Look at Grant going at him.
We don't have to pull up on Grant.
Right?
Yeah, we don't have to pull up, Will.
Grant texts me and says, on our VolQuest podcast, I asked him if he drove to Alabama for Kindridge's commitment ceremony, or if he just got him on the phone. This man.
He gonna put him up on a scarecrow stand in his garden is what's gonna happen next.
We've got Grant kneecapping like half of our guests.
Oh my God.
I feel like Grant just needs to start booking our guests for us.
Dude is a menace.
I'm just glad he's listening.
615-737-1045. More coming up on the Chiefs' loss last night and their overall spending on skill position players. Might surprise you a little bit after their loss to Detroit. That's coming up.
It's Ramon and Kayla with more about Window Nation and more from Window Nation, too. When it comes to new windows, Window Nation gives you more. But now, guess what, Kayla? Ooh. They're giving you even more. The more windows you buy, the more you save. Up to 50% off, plus a lot more. Plus, this is the best part. Pay nothing for 2 full years. It's an amazing deal on the windows that deliver more for your home. More energy savings, more values, more features, more option, Kayla's, and more beauty.
Exactly. And you know what? I was looking around the other day when I walked out of the house and saw some of the condensation on the neighbors' windows. And I'm thinking, you probably don't have windows from Window Nation. And let me help you out with this, because maybe you're listening this morning and Ramon talked about more of everything. You can save up to even 50% with the purchase of House of Windows, because guess what? You're keeping all that in. You've got quality windows that will keep the energy bills low, no matter if it's the summertime or the winter time. You got your heat, you got your AC, it's always cranking. Window Nation has installed over 2 million windows. They've got a 96% perfection rate, making them one of the top window companies in the world. And guess what? You can believe us, and you can also believe the over 10,000 online positive reviews. So do yourself a favor. Do your house a favor. Call 866-90-NATION or just simply go online to find out more at windownation.com.
Friday morning, and we're acting like it on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in hour number 3, Tim Kelly describes the Titans offense in 3 words. And we give you the injury report from yesterday's practice at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. 615-737-1045 is our number.
Before we get to that, Will, a little bit of just a question for you. This is Cream by Wu-Tang. I didn't know if you knew what Cream stood for.
I don't.
Kayla?
Drinking on down. Is that Prince?
What? What just happened?
Cream,
Don't
C-R-E-A-M.
I'm going to guess the M stands for money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or wait.
Is this?
No.
No, it sounds
me.
Oh.
Money is in it.
Oh, cash rules everything around me.
There you go.
Get the money, the dollar bills, yo.
So you heard it.
All right, thank you for that.
This kind of sounds like the Succession.
This is a white.
It does.
It really does.
Can you go back to
The Succession?
Yeah, cash rules everything around me.
The horns on this one?
Yeah.
That sounds
I had to
like
think
Succession.
about it for a second. As soon as I spelled it out, I was like, okay, no, wait, that's 100% what it is.
Yeah, cash was everything around me. Cream.
It's early in the morning. Come on.
That's good.
Yeah, little Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's for the kids. You know that, right?
That also,
Yes.
that comes from the remix of that Drake did on Nothing Was the Same. Is one of my favorite Drake songs. Definitely in my top 5 of all
Wu-Tang
time.
forever.
Wu-Tang Forever, yeah.
I asked my buddy that the other day. We're going to
Good
go.
God almighty.
We're going to go to the Drake concert when he comes here in
Same.
October.
Oh, must be nice.
What if you got to ask Drake to perform one song? If you were going to the show and he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna let you pick. You get to pick one song for me to perform. What are you picking?" For me, it was pretty easy. It was a nostalgic pick for me. I went Over.
Oh, that's a good one.
Over
You went
is,
Over?
Over is just such a classic for me. I remember riding in my car in high school, listening to that song. What would it be for you guys?
I listened to that song for a while, but now I just can't remember it all.
In my feelings?
Stop it.
I hate you. You in your feelings? I got 2. One got me through combine training. Successful. With him and Trey Songz, I
There you
just
go.
wanted
I love
that
Trey
one.
Songz.
You just wanted to be successful.
Oh my gosh.
Money
You know-
in the cars, and the clothes.
Man, that one and Crew Love with him in the weekend when it
That
was
is
at
a
its
really good one.
purest.
Balling like a C4.
That's the
Oh,
thing. He
my.
has so many collaborations that
Lot
are
of hits.
good.
That's the
Like
thing.
everything is good of his.
So in this question, Robert, do people who are also on the song also just appear to perform it with him?
Yeah, so if you're going to say forever, then yes.
Okay, because in that case, it's forever.
For sure.
I know that's a basic answer, but I don't care.
The best rap collab of all time, and I don't care if you have another opinion.
It's a good one.
It's all of the best people on that song.
Honestly, I'm going to go with a low-key one. Take a shot for me.
Also a banger.
Also a bang.
okay.
Though, oh God.
Take a shot for me is one of my favorites.
This concert's gonna be.
Well, you guys
so
will hear all of those
insane.
at the concert.
Yeah,
that you're going to
well,
go
I
to.
copped off Ticketmaster on this one. Is all I'm saying. I copped
Bert, did you
early.
save for that? My goodness.
Yeah, it's up
That
there.
couldn't have been cheap.
100%. That concert is gonna be insane. It's 2 days here too.
If you got tickets, let me know.
Who's the one artist that money is no object to go see for you?
It was Drake for me.
Drake?
I spent a pretty penny on 2 tickets for that. I think it was like $700 for
Nice.
2 tickets.
Kayla?
I mean, he'd be up there. I wanted to go to this concert. I also love Justin Bieber. I know you guys are going to hate on me.
No,
but
that's Justin
I,
Bieber's great.
I freaking
I
love
like
that
I
guy.
love Justin Bieber. You
Yeah.
kidding me?
For me, Jay
Good
Z.
pick. Ooh, okay.
Oh.
Jay Z.
Well,
You know-
it would have been Tupac, but
you know
he's
mine.
no
Yeah.
longer here.
A Post Malone.
Post Malone for sure.
Yeah, that's a
he
good
should
one,
come
too.
here.
Has Post never been here before?
No, he has. He comes here every tour. Yeah,
Okay.
he hasn't announced his U.S. tour yet. But my favorite band is the band Camino.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, they're not, that's like an affordable ticket. Post Malone, I'm thinking like A-list, which to me, Band Camino's A-list. That's like the band I know the most about. But yeah, like you're like A-list artist that you would do anything to go see. Post Malone 100%.
Yeah,
For
I'm putting Jay in that conversation. I'm seeing Andre 3000 do something with
Ooh.
Outkast.
Strong.
Oh, now that
Strong.
would be
I
fun.
didn't mean to derail this entire segment.
No,
No,
that's
this
great.
is perfect right there. At least we know what Cream is now as a group.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had
Well-
people text me worried about y'all.
Last night for Patrick Mahomes, there were way too many people in his wide receiver room that he didn't know last year. He was 2 of 12 with 1 interception when targeting wide receivers in the second half last night. 0 for 4 with a pick for Kadarius Toney. I love how well that worked out. Sky Moore 0 for 3 targeting him in the second half, and Justin Watson 0 for 2 targeting him in the second half. That courtesy of NFL Rumors on Twitter, retweeted by our friend
Well,
Mickey
the show's
Ryan.
done. Sorry, guys.
It's just not going to get any better than that. I'm
Oops.
sorry. It's just not.
Bye.
Yeah.
It's early release.
Yeah. Will Bowling,
See
you
ya.
hit us with one too many dad jokes.
There we go.
Burton's pulling the court, baby.
Yeah, when I start the show,
This
it's
is
last
awesome.
name ever, first name greatest. And like a sprained ankle, I am not something you want to play with. 615-737-1045 is our number. No, it's not the end of the show quite yet. Coming up next, we'll try to
Final
top
words,
that with the
Ramon.
Titans injury report, but I doubt we can.
What's going on? Just turned 8 o'clock in the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Let's see if I can get through this update without sneezing. I got to sneeze pretty bad right now. Chiefs fall to the Lions last night, 21-20 in the first game of the season, and there were a lot of firsts last night. It was the Lions' first Week 1 win since 2017. It was also Patrick Mahomes' first Week 1 loss and his first interception in Week 1. And who did he throw that interception to? Brian Branch, playing in his first NFL game, getting his first interception for his first NFL touchdown. Lots of firsts last night, plenty more to come in a long NFL season. A record deal was struck yesterday between the Bengals and Joe Burrow, signing a 5-year, $275 million extension with $219 guaranteed on the deal. That makes him the highest-paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow is now the fourth quarterback this offseason to sign a market-resetting contract extension. Started with Jalen Hurts at $255, then Lamar followed him at $260. Justin Herbert just a tad higher at $262.5, and then Burrow blowing them all out at $275 over 5 years. The practice report for the Titans came out yesterday that saw two new additions due to rest, DeAndre Hopkins and tight end Trayvon Wesco, but Trey Avery, Harold Landry, and Dylan Radins were all still practicing in a limited fashion. Last practice report's going to come out later today to see the overall health of the group going into the Saints game on Sunday. And you can listen to that game right here on 104.5 The Zone. Lee Company countdown to kickoff starts at 9 o'clock, and Titans Radio at 11. They'll take you all the way up to kickoff right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Friday morning on RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, live on 104.5 The Zone. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville, and live on the F&M Bank chat on 104.5 The Zone TV. The F&M Bank chat wide open for your comments and conversation this morning. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. While you were there, you can see our beautiful faces and see your comments on screen as well as you enjoy 2 more hours of RKW this week. We've got Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh behind the glass, voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, coming up in 20 minutes. It is a Friday, and we're acting like it.
Sir Charles Jones.
We're going to have to figure out something next week on this, guys.
What's up?
What?
Because before Tennessee plays Florida, I don't know if we can condone anything, Gators.
Oh.
Fresh pair of Gators.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. You want to know why? You went on the world tour last year with a dude, man. Nationwide tour with a guy. And I'm wondering because I don't know if we can't, Bert, you probably know this because you're a very smart dude. I feel like we have to acknowledge that time and time again, my brother.
You give me a lot of credit up front. I don't like that.
I feel like, well, since I took away from how you get free drinks, I feel like I'd at least say you're a smart dude. Is that okay?
I could get down with that.
Can
I get that in writing to show my girlfriend?
Yes,
sure.
As a matter of fact, I'll draw it up, okay?
Love that.
We can't really, kidnap a cavalier, can we? We can't do that. I mean, that's a
It'd
human
be a hard
being.
fight.
Be pretty
too.
cavalier of you.
You could take his horse.
We could take his horse.
You could take his horse.
We didn't need it last
It would
week.
make him a regular infantryman.
We can take over the government, essentially. We might go to jail for that, right? Like
Yes.
Austin P this weekend. It's kind of frowned upon. But if you roam around these streets, you're across America, okay, and you side by side with an individual by the name of Ron Slay, if there is an animal mascot, you can grab a tooth. You can get some skin. You can make some gators out of it, Will.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe it's actually all the more reason to grab a fresh pair of gators.
There it is.
Because then you got to kill a gator in the process.
There
That's
we
fair.
go.
That might be do it.
I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to steal that bill from Schoolhouse Rock since they're playing the Governors this week.
Oh my goodness!
I'm just
no,
a
they're
bill.
they're just gonna go pee.
Yeah, let's just go pee.
Yeah.
Oh,
The fly is open. Let's go.
man. Well, I'm telling you, look, hands in the air on this one. We will play this song, and I got
That's
some.
fine.
Sure.
I have some actual Gator covered Jordan 1s
Do
I'm
you
gonna
really?
wear next week.
Really?
Yeah, I had them customized by this guy when I was playing. You know, the NFL lifestyle crap that you buy into.
Yeah.
I have some of those. I'm gonna wear those in on Friday. Okay, remind me. So we will wear a fresh pair.
Is that going to be with or without the Gucci suit? Are you just going to wear the Gators without that, or
I'll just put on the Louis Vuitton belt instead.
There we
that
go.
works?
Is that cool?
The
Is that
LV on
cool?
the waist always helps.
LV on the waist always
We'll
holds
let it
you
fly.
up. Well, we'll let it fly. No flies around here.
Keep
Just
them
dead
flies
gators.
open and go pee.
We won't look forward to next week, though. We must have Austin P this weekend. Shout out to Gerald Harrison also, who's their
I love
athletic
when, I know.
director.
I like every time you say it. Shout out.
I know I hate bashing
I'm
them
sorry,
'cause
but it is funny.
G's so cool. Go
Well,
P.
Go pee is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
that's so funny to
Go
say.
peep around the corner is what we doing.
Well, the Titans injury report yesterday has similar things that it did on Wednesday. Trey Avery, Harold Landry, and Dylan Radins were all limited. Traylon Burks, Arden Key, and Will Levis were full participants at practice. DeAndre Hopkins was limited, but just a rest day. Trayvon Wesco also given a rest day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing that continues to I scratch my head about is Harold Landry, and I don't want to overreact to anything in injury reports because we just don't know the full story, especially with Mike Vrabel running the ship there. It's a very tight ship. But the abdomen is the thing that's curious to me, and he was out there for stretch, and then he was nowhere to be found. So I think that's the one that kind of worries me a little bit, but at the same time, it could just be a thing, getting him right for the start of the season.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel alluded to the fact the other day that they also are going to work him in slowly, right?
Have to.
Hence why they've kind of beefed up on that outside linebacker room.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Rashad Weaver about it yesterday, and, they've taken a lot of pride in adding to that. But a big part of it also is they don't want to just throw Harold out there for every snap right away.
Oh, you don't want that contract to go to waste.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, right, Kayla? Like, protect your investment. It's one thing to say, all right, we got a Ferrari, it's good to drive it, but we must maintenance this thing. Yeah. We got to make sure that we're on top of it and let him warm up. I don't think Ferraris come with auto starters, but
no.
I mean, you got to get him warmed up, essentially. I'm okay with that.
You're seeing a lot of that over the league in practice reports, too, about guys that are getting rest, but it's not necessarily a new injury.
Right.
You saw that in Dallas with Tyron Smith. I think he popped up today with an ankle injury. And they're saying it's not a new injury. It's just managing the nerve damage he's had over his past injuries and making it known. Because teams can get fined for players missing practice and them not accurately attributing why they're missing practice.
Sure.
Correct.
Patriots
accusations.
They've had plenty of those.
Accusations. These are not false accusations.
Why was Rick Ross so mad?
I don't know, but it's a great draw.
But all in all, man, it seems like this weekend all hands are on deck. Will be very interesting if Dylan Radins gets a stab at it in some capacity. I don't think we've seen Kayla any kind of extra offensive lineman set with him being out there. But I think they would have to, go at him the same way they are with Harold Landry in a sense.
Absolutely.
He could potentially be one of the future cogs when it comes down to the structure of this team moving forward. Why push a guy into the dirt when he's not ready to,
No, I'm with you on that. And then Traylon Burks, for any of you who wanted an update on that, he's been available in every practice. It's been, full participation, and he looks good.
He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
I
did love when it asked, someone was asking him in the locker room, you think you're going to play? And he essentially gave the Kodak, like, I hope so. I hope so.
You got to leave that to Mike Vrabel, but I hope so.
Goofballs, man. Locker room personalities. I love it.
615-737-1045 is our number, and we go to the phones because perhaps our favorite caller is on the line. He is Micah in Nolensville, gracing us with his presence this morning. What's up, Micah?
So I wanted to talk about the Vols again today. We're 1-0. We've got Austin P. And my first question to you guys was, how are the Vols going to fix these drop balls from last week? And who's going to step up this year as a star wide receiver for the Vols? Go Rocky Top, baby. We're going 2-0. Let's take down Austin P. Peace.
Hey!
Thank you, Micah.
Hey! Go off, young Micah.
The future of Nashville radio, Micah Nolan.
So great.
Thank you so much.
So great.
Solid. There would be logs of his if he ever decides to go into this world one day. It's like, I've always been on this show.
So I got to find the call I had
Started
for
early.
3HL years and years and years ago when I wanted to correct them on U.S. soccer, but that's a separate conversation. I think the wide receiver position, I think Dante Thornton is a guy that is going to get more run tomorrow. I wouldn't expect to see much Squirrel White.
Okay.
I think he is healthy. I think he's fine. I don't think if there is anything that is ailing him whatsoever that you put him out there against Austin P. I want to see about 2 or 3 long touchdown passes by Joe Milton in Tennessee on Saturday just to hone in on that chemistry and that timing, because we didn't really see that against Virginia because you didn't need to. You don't need to this weekend either, but there's less doubt about the outcome this weekend because you're playing an FCS team that you're a 40-point favorite against.
Yeah.
This is the time to maybe try a couple things without putting too much on film and just hone in on the communication and the timing of some of those deep routes. I think Dante Thornton is a guy who could benefit from some added run tomorrow.
For no other reason, I want to see Brew. I'm
That's
with you on
what
Dante
I was gonna say.
Dante Thornton, to me, I think is could be him. You know, giving more reps and more opportunities. It just seemed like it wasn't space for it last week. As far as, the first time operating as an offensive unit and live, action and whatnot inside of a stadium. I know all of this should sift itself out. Brew McCoy, to me, though, I want to see flourish a little bit more. I think Squirrel got enough time to get his, but it's hard not to hit Squirrel whenever, he cooks the way he does at times, too. This first run of this 2023 offense for the Vols is going to be unique. I do think they will rely more on the running game than we have seen before, but I kind of want to see Brew eat, man.
Especially because this is year 2 for him, right?
Yeah.
Like he knows what's going on now. He's comfortable with everything. He's had the time with Joe, so I'm with you on Brew.
Yeah, and all in all, I think he's a first 3 rounds guy anyway.
And it's big. That's
Brew.
big for him then to have that success this year.
It is.
So.
Coming up next, voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, joins the discussion as we discuss Titans and Saints. We've got Sammy Kincaid talking a little bit of high school football with us as well at 8:45. A busy Hour 3 continues with the VOT on the other side right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
One of the things I love most about Genesis Diamonds is the laid-back feel, the vibe they give you, the relaxed feeling you get when you walk in. There are no commission salespeople at Genesis. Never 1 ounce of pressure or intimidation when you walk in. If you are a diamond expert or if you don't know a thing about diamonds, that will make you feel at home and at ease. And you can see a wide array of GIA-certified diamonds all in your price range of every shape, too. Or if you're looking at lab-grown diamonds, Genesis has those as well at price way, way below what others are selling them for. All of this plus free service for life on any purchase, designer jewelers that you can't find in any other store, 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, and an incredible selection of pristine luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. This is Nashville's premier jeweler, voted time and time again as the best place to buy an engagement ring and best jewelry store in Middle Tennessee, hands down. They have rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, colored gemstone jewelry, all at prices other jewelry stores could only dream they could offer you. For your special occasion coming up, get the most value, the highest quality, and the best overall experience at Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Friday morning at 8:20 right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will means voice of the Titans. Mike Keith stops by to talk Titans, and we do that for the first time on a football Friday before a regular season game day this morning. We've got a cool breeze in Nashville. We got the sun shining. We've talked with Brent Hubbs.
Still 67 degrees.
67 degrees in Nashville, Tennessee, as Mike Keith joins us this morning. Mike, feels good to be back on a regular season Friday talking to you. How are you?
It sure does. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Morning.
Mike, what is the most important matchup the Titans need to win in order to come back from New Orleans with a win on Sunday?
They've got to handle the crowd. That's really a lot of what it comes down to is they've got to put themselves in a position where they don't let the crowd become a factor in this game. I think they're probably already getting ready in New Orleans because that's what they do. And we all understand what that's like. And we can't, be in a position where they dictate to the Titans offense what they're going to be able to do because they can't hear. And then they're not going to be allowed to give the Saints energy in other areas to help push them through. One of the interesting things that I was in researching is since 2006, really the modern era of the Saints, they have a tremendous record at home, as you would expect, about a 70% winning percentage. But the last 2 years, they're just 6-9 at home. And so teams have gone in there and been able to dictate to them and been able to handle that crowd. And that's exactly what the Titans are going to have to do on Sunday. To me, that's the matchup that's a key, because if that gets away from you, it tells you that every other matchup is getting away from you.
Mike, Tim Kelly says he wants this Titans offense to be physical, fast, and energetic. And with this Saints defense, there are playmakers at all three levels of this thing for head coach Dennis Allen. Where will this defense challenge the Titans offense the most, in your opinion?
They'll challenge them, I think, Will, to be able to execute consistently, because what they do is they force you very consistently to do the same things over and over again and do them well. And that's because they're veteran. That's because they're smart. That's because their system isn't crazy complicated. They just keep making you repeat it. And it goes back to, what the Ravens did in Baltimore for years, what the Titans used to do under Greg Williams, is if you have the size you want, you have the veteran presence, and you have the athletes, you don't have to do a lot of crazy things. You just sit there and say, okay, we're going to play fundamentally smart football, down in, down out. We're going to let our athletes win. And then we're going to pounce when you make a giant mistake. And that's the biggest challenge for the Titans, is they've got to be consistent in their overall execution in order to not give Demario Davis that chance to beat him, Cam Jordan that chance to beat him, Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lynch. Those guys are all there. And you've got to keep punching every single down, no matter what you're into, understanding that's going to be a challenge for every play that you're on the field.
Mike, when it comes down to the challenge, of course, the Titans present one also to this Saints defense. The ability, and I'm sure you felt confident in years past about the guys, the bodies in the backfield with Derek, right? But having Tajay Spears along with Derek now, does that move the needle for you a little bit more, considering what we saw from the rookie in preseason and training camp?
Well, sure. And I think, Ramon, the thing that we got into at the end of last year is the Titans didn't scare anybody. They just didn't. Derrick Henry had 4 games in a row to end the season with 100 yards or more, and the Titans didn't win any of them. And that is totally different from what the trend had been in the first part of his career. And it didn't have anything to do with him. It had to do with not having Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. It had to do with not having a receiving core that people feared, not having another back who provided a different sort of weapon. And so what they've done in this offseason is they've added more weapons, 2 in particular with DeAndre Hopkins and Tajay Spears. So I think it's going to be very exciting to see what it potentially can open up for Derek, and obviously what it can open up for the offense overall.
Definitely. And the portion of this game, I think a lot of people have a a ton of questions on how they're going to respond as the big boys up front. I would say, who are you more confident in, the right side or the left side? As far as, Dillard and Hubbard and Skoronski and Bronsko, it sounds like a band, which is what we need them to be, Mike, as this season continues on. Be a band of five.
That's right. I think that's exactly right. They need to be able to work together in those ways in order to not let big things happen, to not give up the big sack, to not give up especially the strip sack. Ooh. You're thinking about the Jacksonville game, and you're thinking about the fact that in week 18, with a team that had played 86 players, the Titans are 3 minutes from another division crown in the playoffs, and they give up, what ends up being ruled a fumble, goes for a touchdown. And even though they had outplayed Jacksonville all night, they had no margin for error, and they lose the game. And those are the sorts of things that this offensive line has to eliminate. They have to eliminate those big plays. Listen, there will be sacks. There will be bad plays. I mean, it won't be perfect. It never is. We all get that. But they've got to be able to communicate in a way that they don't have disasters. That play at the end of the Jacksonville game was a disaster. And they just can't have those things happen this year. And they've got to be able to be functionally more consistent in terms as they operate as a group of five.
Mike Keith joining us now, the voice of the Titans. And Mike, this defense has prided themselves on stopping the run, and Big Jeff makes that clear every time he takes the podium. When it comes to this game specifically, and you see a guy like Jamal Williams with the Saints, how much priority is set on first and foremost stopping that run?
I think it's a big thing, Caleb, because I think with where they are right now without Alvin Kamara, you want to make them as one-dimensional as possible. Mm-hmm. And, we don't know if Kendre Miller's going to be able to play. We don't know if they're going to call up two guys from the practice squad. We're not sure what they're going to look like. So I would think it's obviously a lot of Jamal Williams. That would be, kind of how you would figure it. If they're in a situation where Derek Carr has to stand back there and hold the football, that's not good for the Saints. It's not because Derek Carr can't play or he can't take pressure or whatever, but anytime you can make somebody predictable, you're in a great setting. You give yourself a real chance. And to me, that's what this comes down to is don't let their run game get started at all. Make them predictable, and then have the opportunity to yourself be able to make a few big plays.
Mike, when it comes to the pass rush, and we've seen them kind of invest in the outside linebacker position this year, and, everybody looks at the injury report and they see Harold Landry limited in practice the last couple of days. Realistically, Mike, in a guy like that who's coming off of the ACL a year now, you see him just kind of rotating in slowly at this point?
I don't see Harold doing anything slowly.
Yeah.
So, and how his comeback has been in camp, I just don't think that's probably going to be the case. I think Harold's going to play, and he's on the injury report with an abdomen. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably the bigger concern at this moment in time is how physically he's going to be able to hold up. Yeah, I don't think he's on a pitch count.
Okay.
On any sort of rotation. I think they are counting on having both he and Arden Key. And I said on the latest edition of the OTP that the guy I want to see most out of the newcomers is Arden Key.
Sure.
I want to see him go back to Louisiana. I want to see him in this defense. Arden's had 11 sacks the last 2 years playing for San Francisco and playing for Jacksonville. And he's done it starting only 3 games. So they're saying, hey, we want this guy to be in there and to be a part of it, and we're giving you a chance to be a starter. Can he earn it? Because I'll tell you, if he does, he and Harold Landry together are scary.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, it's a big season, obviously, for Christian Fulton that we've discussed all offseason, and after a good camp, now finds himself back home to begin the new 2023 year. How big of an opening test is this for him? What specifically do you want to see from him against Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and this Derek Carr-led Saints offense?
Just what we've seen in practice, Will, and that's just him consistently battling. And that's what I have liked most about what Chris Harris and Scott Booker and Justin Hamilton, the three guys running the secondary, have really instilled in this group is let's make everything hard. Let's challenge everything. Let's make everything a test for the other team. And when we played Washington last year, it's what we saw out of their secondary. They were annoying. They were so annoying. I mean, everything was just brutally hard. They just competed and competed and competed. And yeah, you caught some passes against them, but man, it was just difficult because the odds of that is if you're competing in that way, a ball's going to get tipped up in the air and somebody's going to make a play. You know, here's Kevin Byard coming along with interception 28, Amani Hooker making a play, or Christian making a play. And we have seen Christian take it to people in camp. Even when he's been playing against DeAndre Hopkins, he's taken the fight to him. And he hadn't won every one. I mean, he's lost several because DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins. But that's what you want to see. If an athlete of his caliber is playing with that technique and that style, he's giving himself a chance to win, and that's what a number one corner does. So I think that's what you'll see. You know, I think you'll see them compete, and that will be the goal, will be to compete in that way.
Mike, we talk a lot in preseason and specifically early in college football about new offensive schemes not showing too much too early. And with a new scheme in Tim Kelly, that is a little bit different in the NFL, right? In the way that there's not a huge reason to save a ton, right, for the entire season, and you want to see this new system at work. Where is that balance, in your opinion, with so many conference games coming up for this team, but also the need to try out a completely new scheme and some new twists to this offense?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is you got to do. I mean, if they had to run the single wing on Sunday to win this game, that's what you do. You run every play you've got, or you run half the plays you've got, or you know whatever. It doesn't make any difference. You got to find a way to win this game. And you know, Coach Mack was talking about that yesterday at length too with me. Is setting your roster, everything you're doing from this moment on is about Sunday. That's what everything that's been done until now, coming up into these weeks, you talk about salary cap and long-term and a guy getting through waivers and, that, you had to be concerned with all of that, right? Well, right now you want to be 1-0 at 3:15 Central Time on Sunday afternoon. And so I think you'll see them throw the kitchen sink at the Saints if that's absolutely what they have to. But what was so annoying about Tim Kelly when he was in Houston is if he could throw crossing routes and work you over, he would just keep doing that. If he could run the ball, he would just keep doing that. If he was throwing to the tight end, he would just keep doing that. Obviously, the thing he did to us is he threw to DeAndre Hopkins 35 times a game when we played them. and I think that the great offensive coordinators that I've been around in my life have not been guys who thought they had to use everything on the play sheet just because they'd written it down. That's the whole thing about Tim that I like is he's going to show some different things early in the game, and then he generally has pared back as the game goes along, and he layers calls on the different formations and plays from before that have worked, and he's noticed further advantage going forward. He's really good at what he does. And I was excited when Mike promoted him based on what we had seen going against him. He was the guy. He averaged 400 yards a game against us and 28 points or something. It was crazy. And we won several of those games. And yet he made it more interesting than it should have been because he could take whatever his parts were and make the most of it. And he's got some good weapons. I mean, there's some nice weapons on this club. So I don't think they'll be holding anything back. That's a long answer to your question, but I would be stunned if they hold anything.
Mike, we mentioned people working together and Tim Kelly here, but there's a lot of other coaches on the staff that coach under Vrabel get opportunities. Tim Kelly is one of those guys right now. Tony Deuce switching positions. Charles London, Jason Hoteling. There's a lot of new bodies inside of that building too. And also just watching the career of Shane Bowen right now too. What do you say about that group, the pressure that they have to perform? Because it's one thing to have the guys, but you also have to have the coaches to execute and follow out the plan with them too.
Well, the response to Hotailing has been tremendous from starters and backups. And I think that the change in personality, not just the change in teaching, but the change in personality has been something that has given the room a different feel. Tony Dews is special. We've known that for a long time, and Mike moving him to tight ends gave him the opportunity to have more responsibility in game planning, which is a good thing. Rob Moore, he's a rocket with the wide receivers. Justin Outen was an offensive coordinator in Denver, and he came here because he wanted to be part of this, and he felt like this was a next step for him career-wise. Charles Lund, exact same thing. And let me tell you, Charles is really some kind of coach too, and he's handled all three of these quarterbacks so well. That's been one of the most interesting parts of watching practices, has been seeing how Charles handles each one differently, and he's formed a real bond with all three, which is giving them these growth opportunities. He's gotten Ryan Tannehill in a really good place. You see Malik Willis has gotten better. You haven't had a chance to see as much of Will Levis, but trust me when I say they get one another and the conversation is there. So I think that group has fit together well. And because Tim has done this before as an OC, I think that makes it less of a challenge of getting everybody on the same page. And the fact that he was here last year, even though he was really just an eye in the sky, he was here, so he knew a lot of the personalities. And then, as Mike put this staff together, it's been something that obviously Tim was clearly supportive of as well.
Mike, DeAndre Hopkins has entered the building here in Tennessee, and he is all about business, just the way he carries himself. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after some teams, he said, kind of passed him by in free agency. And first and foremost, Mike, with that chemistry with Ryan Tannehill, did you kind of see that from day one with them? And how unique is that? I know he's a veteran wide receiver, but just having that from the get-go.
Yeah, and that's Tannehill. Tannehill has done that with different, he had it with AJ. He had it with Julio. When Julio was able to play, and the injuries were obviously a huge problem, Ryan could get him the ball, and he felt comfortable with that. He's done it with tight ends. He did it with Jonnu Smith. Mm-hmm. And so for him to come in and for this guy to be the pro that he is, and for DeAndre to be DeAndre, it's really, really impressive. For the great Titans fans who are listening to you this morning, if you haven't read the GQ article yet, it is so worth a read because it is so insightful into who DeAndre is. And we got it. I don't think any of us who saw him torch us for years and years and years are surprised about what his personality is and what's important to him. This is a guy on the cusp of a Hall of Fame. Yep. And I don't know. I think he is, but I'm not a voter. The point being, I think he still shows those outstanding qualities in practice. We still see him do the crazy stuff, being able to catch one-handed and in traffic, and his route running. He has practiced. There was so much talk about, he's not going to bring to practice. He'll practice one day a week. And that's absolutely not been the case. They pace him. Well, they should. They pace Derrick Henry. They pace how much Ryan Tannehill throws. They pace Jeffrey Simmons. They pace Kevin Byard. That's what you do with your good players. Yeah. So I'm tickled to death to see him on Sunday and really excited to see what he's going to have a chance to do against the Saints. And the fact that Tannehill could figure out immediately how to do things. He's over doing planks on the practice field the other day, and Tannehill goes over and he's doing planks with him, and then basically every skill player on the team's over there doing it. And I got sore just watching. Yeah. It's just there's camaraderie. He and Henry are friends, and he's taken Traylon under his wing, and Traylon has respect for him. But I don't think Traylon is in awe of him, because I think Traylon thinks Traylon is good too, which is the right way to be.
Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, our guest this morning, every Friday here on RKW. Mike, we're looking forward to listening on Sunday. Thank you as always.
we're looking forward to being there. I hope people will listen. Thanks very much for having me. Have a
Yes,
great
sir.
day.
Mike.
Absolutely. There's Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, with us. We'll react to that. We will also talk with Sammy Kincaid of 104.5 The Zone and My TV 30 as Friday Night Rivals. Friday Night Football, 4th week of the regular season. Already coming up tonight. We'll preview it coming up next.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. I know I do at times, okay? That's because we're afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or it could be a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or maybe nothing at all. Bottom line is, we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. What we need is a peace of mind, and United Structural Systems is the company to give that. They have over 25,100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they make that happen time and time again. When they come out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver who gives you a peace of mind, the homeowner, okay? You're not getting someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota or upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, their only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is, not a closing ratio. Homeowners trust USS. They've been keeping homes dry and stable for decades now. They guarantee their best every single time, and they're serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. If you need work on your home, you can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
Friday morning continues in hour number 3 on RKW, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in hour 4, there is one game that has the second most bets placed in football this weekend, and it's not the one you would expect. We'll talk about that coming up here at 9 o'clock. But right now in studio, we've got Sammy Kincaid of 104.5 The Zone and of My TV 30 Friday Night Rivals hanging out with us this morning. What's up, Sammy? How are you?
What's up? I'm happy to join y'all. I like the vibes in here. You got Drake going,
That's right.
Ramon's jamming next to me. I like the vibes.
Got a bottle in here.
It's not open. Don't worry.
I almost launched it.
Yeah. Stressing me out. That's a nice bottle of bourbon. You're about to just spike like a
money
football.
going to waste there.
Put in a basket.
Sammy, can you believe we are 1 week away from the halfway point of the high school football season?
Which is insane. And especially with Friday Night Rivals having those 3 games during week 1 of the season. The director was talking about, he was like, after week 2, we were already a third of the way through all of our games because we had already done 4 games. And so to think that we're finally actually at the halfway point almost is insane because it feels like we just got started, that those 3 games were just the other day.
Crazy. You've got Station Camp and Springfield tonight. 7 o'clock, My TV 30, Friday Night Rivals. What should people be looking for if they're tuning in for this one?
Well, tonight I think you're going to see a lot of new faces.
Okay.
The big story.
Get your roster out.
Yeah, get your roster out. You're going to be learning a lot of names tonight. So the big storyline is both teams are looking for their first win, and they're going to have to do it with a lot of guys that haven't played. The injury list, my first report of the game is going to be pretty lengthy tonight.
Okay.
There's still some questionables. Some guys have been out sick all week, and so it's questionable if they'll be able to play tonight, if they'll be back. But that list is still going to be very lengthy. A lot of their key guys. Station Camp might be out 3 of their top 5 players tonight.
Dang.
Wow.
Which is a huge hit. And Dustin Wilson, I was talking to Springfield's head coach this morning on Fox 17, and all he kept saying was, we're a young team, we're a young team. He said, I don't want the message to sound old, but that's really what it is. They have 7 seniors that can play. They have 9 seniors total, but one's a transfer that's not eligible, and another's injured. So they have 7 seniors. That's hard whenever you have that few of guys helping to lead a team. And he said the only way, though, that you become not a young team is by playing older teams, and then all of a sudden you become the older team.
Sure.
So they have a great mindset. Both teams, though, are facing a lot of adversity.
I like it.
I do too. Springfield, very prideful. That crowd will show up. So will Station Camp too. It's going to be fascinating to see whose student sections are chanting by the end of the night. That is by far, Sammy. We didn't have that stuff. Ours was only the band area over there. Yeah, it was just hang around. They really is. It's fascinating watching those student sections go at it.
Yeah, no, at Pope we had the guys would always paint up. They had the Blue Man Crew. It was great. I loved high school football games, and I think at DCA when I went to DCA from preschool to 8th grade, it was same exact thing. And DCA would always end up in the state championship when I was going to school there. So it was always a ton of fun. Humble brag. It was not the case when I was at Pope. But anyways, no, tonight is homecoming for Springfield. So I expect it to be a great turnout from both sides, but especially on the Springfield side. They're going to be honoring the 93 team at halftime, which won the state championship in 93. So Coach is really excited for those guys to be talking to his younger guys and say, hey, look, you can get through this adversity. Look what we were able to accomplish.
You said some of the young guys, there's a lot on both teams. Anybody in particular that you've kind of looked at, done some research on that sticks out to you? Like, this is a name to look out for moving forward.
One name to watch tonight is CJ Cobbins.
Okay.
He's going to be stepping up for his brother, his big brother, Cam Cobbins, which Cam and CJ, those are the two that CJ is actually the one that's really being looked at by schools right now. He has offers from EKU, and I'm blanking on the second one right now, but he has a couple guys looking at him right now, a couple schools. And so he's a big name to watch tonight because he will be stepping in for his big brother. And that would be the big one, I would say.
That's cool. Siblings.
Funny thing.
That will be something I talk about tonight. There's a lot of siblings
Love
on
it.
this Springfield team. He said he has 69 guys on the roster, and 10 of those are siblings.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'll be talking more about that in detail tonight.
Tune
but
in.
yeah.
The funny thing I think of when you talk about homecoming already, and tonight we're at Green Hill Wilson Central for our game of the week here on The Zone, and it's homecoming there too. First thing I think of is, man, that's a short amount of time to find your homecoming date if you're a young 15-year-old. That's a lot of stress. You just meet all the new people that come to school and all the new girls that are by your locker, and you're like, oh, wow, should I ask her to homecoming? Well, shoot, do you have a date yet? Oh, gosh, I got to fight. Like, whew. That's a different kind of stress right there.
We have a group text with the FNR crew, and that wasn't our exact conversation, but we were talking about, wow, how is a school already having a homecoming this early? It does seem like it's very early in the season to be having homecoming, but they're very excited for it.
Do what me and my boys did. We just mobbed together, okay? You ain't got to do that. Come on, let's go back.
Let's go.
We're menaces. That's what we were.
Civic Kincaid will be on the sidelines tonight as Springfield takes on Station Camp, 7 o'clock on My TV 30. Have a good call as always. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, you as well.
Thanks, Sammy.
Coming up in hour 4, the game with the second highest handle of any football game this week, behind Lions Chiefs, is not in Tuscaloosa. We'll tell you where it is coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Scoreboard Bar and Grill. Fall in Tennessee may be the best time of the year, and Scoreboard is ready to celebrate it with Low Country Bulls, football, and the best live music in Nashville. Now with 2 great locations, too. The original one across from the Grand Ole Opry, and now on the shores of Old Hickory Lake at Cedar Creek. If it's a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday night, both Scoreboards will have all the games, food, and music you want. By boat, Harley, truck, or chopper, you can land at either location, okay? And if it's football time, it's Scoreboard time. Are you ready for some football? I know we were last night. But anyways, 3HL will be there this Friday tonight from 3 to 6 as they broadcast live from the newest Scoreboard Cedar Creek location. And listen up, y'all. They'll have great giveaways and half off all drinks from 3 to 6 while 3HL is there. And if you want some free UT versus Austin P tickets, the home opener, register to win with 3HL. I think Eki Bach will be carrying around a box for that, okay, with 3HL. You must be present to win, so be sure to be there. So mark your calendars and get your appetite ready. Low Country Bowls with crab, shrimp, and all the fixings start back up this Saturday from noon to 5. Scoreboard, Cedar Creek on Old Hickory Lake. Be there.
9 o'clock on the dot. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Chiefs fall to the Lions last night 21-20 in the first game of the season, and that wasn't the only first that happened last night. It was the Lions' first Week 1 win since 2017. It was also Patrick Mahomes' first Week 1 loss and his first interception in Week 1. That interception, who did he throw it to? Brian Branch, playing in his first NFL game, getting his first interception and his first NFL touchdown. Lots of firsts last night. Plenty more to come. Record deal was signed yesterday between Joe Burrow and the Bengals, reaching an agreement on a 5-year, $275 million extension that includes $219 million guaranteed and makes him the highest-paid player in NFL history. Joe Burrow is now the fourth quarterback this offseason to sign a market-resetting contract extension. Started with Jalen Hurts, 5 years, $255, then Lamar with $260, Justin Herbert with $262, and then Joe Burrow blew that out of the water with $275. Titans practice report came out yesterday with two new additions for rest in DeAndre Hopkins and tight end Trayvon Wesco, but Trey Avery, Harold Landry, Dylan Radence were all limited practicing in that fashion. Last practice report will come out later today to see the overall health of the group going into Sunday versus the Saints. You can listen to that game right here on 104.5 The Zone. League Company Countdown to Kickoff starts at 9 o'clock. Titans Radio comes on at 11, and they'll take you all the way up to kickoff. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show. It's a Friday morning, and we are acting like it on Ramon, Kayla, and Will with a full crew in studio. Coming up in 20 minutes, keys to a Titans win in the Big Easy this upcoming weekend. We've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh making the show happen. My name is Will Bowling. Friday, and our anthem is always the same. We're acting like it.
Sir Charles Jones. That's right.
Yeah.
They work 9 to 5.
What we gonna do, y'all?
As that 9 to 5 begins this morning.
Party.
Yeah. It's
There'll be
a
parties
good
in Nashville.
Friday. Oh, I can't wait to get started.
What if I just never faded this down? There's like
That's fine.
3.5 minutes of
Fine.
this.
Hey, you know what?
Go for it.
That'd be a grand old time right there, Bert.
There was a wrestler in ECW named New Jack, and when he wrestled, they would play his entrance music the entirety of his match.
Let's go.
People would be like,
So
when is the
advantage.
song going to end? And it would just never end.
It's an
keeps
improper
going.
benefit.
Hey, guess what we did?
No, look.
We did our work this week,
We
y'all.
never
Yeah,
get to
we
this part.
did.
I was
Oh,
going to say
Come
we
on.
never get to the second verse. We listened to it at Titans practice. Or
Come
y'all
on.
do.
yeah.
At Titans practice.
A fresh
Yeah.
pair of gators.
Fresh pair of gators, baby. We'll get Will some next week, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring me back a tooth.
Yeah, I'll be headed
Let's
down
go. Yeah, keep it going, Bert. Let's
Come on,
go.
Bert, singing about the whiskey.
He's got some bourbon over here.
I go by the stove.
Closed bottle, of course.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
You go by me.
Let's just do the rest of the show.
Hey, man, that
just
is
kidding,
a
I'm not done.
classic.
Yeah.
Move on the dance
You thought it was
floor.
done. Because what day is it?
It's Friday. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the
Chills.
gospel song. I know Ramon's seen this video of the song that's and we will praise you for the rest of our days. And they just keep on doing different key changes. And they just go, yes, and they just keep going up, yes, Lord. And they genuinely do it like 8 times. We would, in our fraternity in college, 1 chapter a year, going into chapter meeting, we'd always play music as everyone walked in when I was an officer. So you would like open the door and you'd play a different song to like get everybody hype. And it's a Sunday night. Like everybody's like tired, whatever, and just get people like back and going. And we would play that one, and then we'd all like get ready to like clap and sit back down. And then we'd just stare right back up. And yes, Lord. That's what I feel like Robert's doing to us.
It is, man. Hey, start that thing on up, man.
We might need that for our 920 music coming back and just talking to people.
You can pull that out.
Might be
I
doing
think so. We ain't gonna ask too much out of Bert, man. You feel me? Just every once in a while.
He's a DJ. He's a producer. He's a
philosopher.
He's a Shark Tank
You know what I'm
wizard.
saying? There's a lot of things, Bert. I feel like it's too many flowers now. You know what? You suck, Bert.
To the shadows.
There he goes.
You know what? You today has been Praise birthday, man.
That's okay.
Is the day your birthday?
It's my birthday.
Every day is birthday.
Shut up.
Yeah.
It's not called his birthday. It's called his birthday.
Birthday.
Yeah.
Literally for my birthday this year, the girls
I'm gonna take vacation.
Girls do things for birthdays that guys wouldn't do.
Sure.
And Cheyenne had a big banner up, and it just said, "It's your birthday."
I love that.
No, I don't. I hate that.
Were you in your birthday suit?
Whoa, my gosh. Wow.
I can't help
Having
it.
a nice time.
Stories
That
I've heard
is-
before, so don't act like
That's
this
for a
is
different stream.
surprise.
Start that conversation at 10:01.
We're having a nice time.
That is the FCC requires us to move on to a different topic.
It's funny you mentioned that because one of Cheyenne's friends is moving to a new apartment. She
Please.
moves in next Thursday, so she's going to stay with us for a couple days.
Sure.
And Cheyenne has told me that I'm not allowed to walk around in my birthday suit.
That seems reasonable.
It's my house, Will. It's my house. I didn't invite
seems
her over.
reasonable.
I didn't.
it.
But she needs somewhere to stay. If you need somewhere to stay, that's fine. But I'm gonna be walking around doing my own thing.
Speaking of which, can we just? What's the length of time a friend can stay over? Like before you just like, all right, I'm back.
Before you get annoyed.
Yeah, like and you're not annoyed. It's just your space is not necessarily all of your space when you got an extra body in. What 3-4 days?
Oh, I was gonna say like a week and a half.
It depends on the person.
Okay. It does depend.
I was
on
gonna
the
say like
person.
2 weeks ish because honestly, for me, I live by myself in an apartment that is I live in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself.
Yeah.
So like I have space.
Right.
Like I have my freshman year roommate's been staying with me all week. It's been great.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but for me also, I've had a roommate my whole life until my old roommate got married in July.
Okay.
So I've only had 2 months. Like I'm used to it at this point because I don't know anything else. I think like the older you get, the more it's like, all right, 48 hours, your time is up.
That is true.
Please leave your room key at the door when you check out. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Any incidentals to the room, we've got your credit card information.
Especially with your parents, like, because my parents, I love when they come visit, but after like 4 or 5 days, I'm like, all right, we got to go. Like, this is too long.
I don't think my brother Renardo's coming to visit us anymore. He was in town this weekend.
Really?
We had the busiest weekend ever, okay? There was no sleeping in. It was late nights at times and getting up early, man. If you come stay at my house, the schedule that we have is ridiculous.
Do they have
okay?
to be involved in it though,
Well,
or can they
wanna
chill?
be involved
Okay,
too.
okay.
There's the
I
option,
gotcha.
but most time when the entire house is leaving,
Sure.
you try to leave with them.
With 'em.
Man, we had a basketball game, we had practice, we had football, we had everything going on. I was just like, I wouldn't come visit me. Is what I'm telling you. Unless you're ready to be put to work, don't come visit me. Okay.
Right.
So there is a game this weekend in football between NFL and college that more people are betting on than Alabama, Texas. Which one do you think it is?
I already know which one it is.
Okay.
Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
You would be correct.
There it is.
Front Office Sports tweeting this out a few minutes ago. That is the second most bet game in football this weekend behind Lions Chiefs. Colorado and Nebraska.
Is this why that Colorado athletic director said we don't have the $28 million, but I'm sure we gonna get it. Prime brings the bag with him, and not just his luggage he was talking about bringing. That, or I personally know a lot about Colorado. Y'all forgive me for even saying that out loud, But apparently they have been in the same purgatory as Tennessee, Nebraska, Florida State.
Well, yeah.
In general, like trying to find their way back out of the hell's den is what they've been in. And any inkling, the same way the Vols did last year, right, Kayla? Any inkling of success, you jump onto it. It's attractive. Sure. Those old alumni come back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's some solid stuff watching it. But on the betting side, goodness gracious.
Yeah, because they were in the Big 12, came to the Pac-12, had not had success in terms of football there. And now they're going to be going back to the Big 12 with Dion obviously getting things in the right direction. And that's what I'm excited to see this weekend, betting on this game or not. Like, how do you follow up something like that? And especially against another program who talk about the depths of you-know-what. Nebraska has been there for a long time.
They have. Nebraska's starving for relevancy. Corn. Now, they got plenty of that. They are starving for wins. They're starving to be on top. The same way as Colorado. And, of course, I have to throw the Vols in there, too, because I know what that feels like. That's why I laugh time and time again and watching Florida go through it with Napier. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same stuff that we went through, I'm hoping Heupel and who else is another hot shot in the SEC coaching hires will.
I'd say Brian Kelly is.
Absolutely.
Well, him. Well, what I'm hoping is they get forced into what Tennessee had to go through. Like, legitimately, like
easy.
the pendulum eventually swings. You know what I'm saying? Only one has been able to do it. Two organizations have been able to do it, schools. And I continually said, Ohio State, Georgia. Georgia's just now getting their championships.
Miami has a chance to take that next step as well, hosting Texas A&M this weekend.
There you go.
How you feel about that?
I don't know how to feel about that game specifically because both teams are too talented to be as bad as they were last year. And Mario Cristobal has recruited at an elite level, but it is close to becoming another Jimbo Fisher kind of failure in the way he's been a failure at Texas A&M if he doesn't take that next step this year. I tend to think that he will. I think Miami is one of those places that there are too many resources and too much money for you to mess up if you recruit at a high level. But that's a loser leaves town game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I heard 3HL previewing this a little bit yesterday. He was talking about the same thing. And they mentioned the protection of the quarterback at Texas A&M. I'm thinking to myself, you went full defensive line and didn't find any offensive line in that historic recruiting class that you got?
That's a joke.
That is career neglect for an offensive-minded guy. Like
you got guys to transfer out, too.
The guy,
even if you do recruit it well.
Is that
and
culture?
You shouldn't be.
Culture?
Well, they had a lot of guys transfer out last year.
A&M?
Yeah.
So you can have the biggest recruiting class, but if you can't keep and sustain something, like that to me is like a fail.
Recruiting's the biggest lying that's going on in general.
Yeah.
I get that. But, like, you can't be where Jimbo is and have the excuse I'm losing recruits, though, too.
He signed like the second best class ever. According to 247 2 years ago.
And they also got a transfer from Alabama this year, too.
I think we're going to eventually get to a point where these services are ranking just classes between high school and transfers because right now those are done separately. And if you were doing that, I don't think A&M ever would have even been number one because you have to complement the high schoolers you add with college transfers.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Ole Miss has recruited at a very low level under Lane Kiffin for high schoolers, but at a very high level for transfers. There's a balance that has to take place there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, transfers, I think it's important more than ever, to be able to know what you're doing in the transfer portal to grab the right fits out of there. And some programs have done really well at that, and it's made a difference, specifically quarterbacks. And then some, like you said, Will, they can't find the balance there.
615-737-1045, our number. What is the biggest key for the Titans to beat the Saints? We give you three things we're looking for, and I imagine a lot of offensive line discussion is coming up on the other side. As we talk Titans and Saints with you, 615-737-1045. Friday morning on RKW is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Let's and go.
Hey!
There it is.
Get them going, Bert.
This is how we feel doing a 4-hour show. Just keep on going. Key change keeps on coming. Yeah, it fades down. That's a nice end of the song.
It's not over.
Oh, it's not back yet. Okay. Really nice. Oh, that's a great song. That's great.
And go.
You thought.
Go off, Bert. Party all night on Friday
Let's
night.
go.
Saturday night. You better get up and go to church, baby.
This is the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And there's no G in Sunday morning.
Bring it back.
No G.
I thought we had one more.
In other words, from your local sponsor.
That kind of worked, though.
YouTube ads.
Go to church and then NFL Sunday.
Hey, that was solid, right? That was solid.
Thought we
That's
had one
great.
more in us.
That's great.
My dude, that
That's
was
great.
cold-blooded right there, man.
Some news on Twitter this morning. Vol Football tweeting out that tomorrow's game against Austin P is officially a sellout.
Is
Nice.
it really?
It's great.
Man, hey, that's what winning do.
$100K for the Governors coming to town.
And you cannot take that for granted because Mississippi State fans are going through it right now because they cannot get people to come out for Arizona.
No.
Really?
Oh, really?
For Arizona?
For Arizona?
They can't. Apparently, they were having a big issue with them not having enough fans at the games.
Oh. Well, Lonzo's in the F&M Bank chat every day. Surely he'll be there.
Lonzo, you'll be there.
Wow.
Is anything about any SEC team, he has to make it about Mississippi State. So surely there are people like him that care enough to go.
And what I will say is Mike
No?
Leach,
Huh.
rest in peace, Coach Mike Leach. That sucks for that situation too. But
Yes.
guess what? Couldn't be my team because guess what? Mike Leach is going to be represented at my university,
Tell 'em, Kayla.
Washington State, baby, as we
Own
are on
that.
prime time hosting a ranked Wisconsin team.
There it is.
Let's freaking go. The Pirate will be recognized in Pullman. You
Hey,
can bet
Mississippi
your
State,
britches.
hold that.
Hold my beer, Mississippi State.
I'm here for that, man. Whew, they can't
I
sell
think
out
we're
a
all
game.
pumped up.
Apparently not.
They can't
That
sell out a
sucks.
game,
Yeah.
Bert. That's cold-blooded, man.
No.
Get those bells going.
Usually when 100,000 people are there to see the Governors, it's an inauguration. Usually that's not a football game.
Oh,
Oof.
Bert? Kayla? Can I please throw something at this man?
What do you got over
You
there?
got a brick over there.
I got a
Yeah,
brick.
you do got a
I
brick.
Brick by brick.
Don't worry, it's
I
a
got
soft brick, y'all.
There you go. Oh, yeah,
Ow.
you take that. You said, ow.
Hostile work environment.
Hostile work environment.
Brick by brick. Pretty soon you'll be losing games 73-0 if you're throwing bricks on a house. Yeah. Throwing bricks at people.
And then had the nerve to mention a certain fan base. Can I soapbox this
Yeah,
real
Butch
quick?
Jones the other
Go
day.
ahead,
Go
go
ahead. No, you're good. You're the one that played there.
Can we ping pong this
We
thing?
can.
Great.
My
Can we
gosh.
ping pong this thing? Yes, we did.
All right, 5 love. Serve it up.
Yes, we did. Okay, Butch comes out and in his press conference after losing 7-3-0, one of his players had to pat him on his back, pick him up off his knees, and tell him, "Hey, coach, it's gonna be all right." Now I understand this Arkansas State, the level of expectation, and but he's a proven coach,
What was that?
Proven where?
proven coach in this league with his Alabama internship that he had. And that's the only
First one you go to.
That's the only reason I'm really picking at it because you're a man. You're 40. I get what you've
Way
gone
over
through,
40.
okay? And you have the nerves to mention another fan base and how they troll you and go at you and the noise surrounding you. And you're also that same individual that went inside the rival. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the SEC that you play every single year, and you sat in that locker room and contributed to their win somewhere by getting Coach Saban some coffee and donuts and his oatmeal pies. And then after y'all win and beat us, you smoke cigars in the opposing locker room in Tuscaloosa, and you want sympathy? I'm a man. I'm almost 40. Come on.
Let's go. That's right.
We'll get you the audio of this in a minute.
What a
Butch Jones essentially talked about how there is more conversation coming from other fan bases than from his own when it comes to the negativity surrounding his team's loss. I've sent Robert the audio of this. I think the audio I sent you might be a bit of a longer cut of this. We're looking for the part where he talks about talking about another fan base. And I mean, honestly, it really is Tennessee fans' fault.
It is
that they lost by 73.
It is.
It's Tennessee fans were taking over Nissan Stadium. They were getting spit in the faces by the Titans allegedly, and they were also ruining Arkansas State's opener.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work for one fan base. Here's Butch Jones at the podium.
Coach, if you look at social media or message boards, obviously a lot of negativity following the loss. Is that something you talk about with your team, or you just kind of keep all of it?
I don't check that at all. I mean,
yes, he does.
I would hope there'd be people that would be upset. I mean, that means they have passionate, but also I know that a lot of that is from another fan base. So I don't pay much attention to that.
Yeah, you do.
I can tell you with firsthand experience, speaking from the perspective of someone who Butch Jones tried to kick out of practice while I was covering Tennessee as a beat writer. Butch Jones does read all of that stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
All of it. And he's not happy about it. But the way you change that is by coaching better, not by going after Tennessee fans who genuinely had zero to do with your 73-point loss to the hands of Brent Venables and Oklahoma.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say, almost.
Oh, my God. One of you go.
He did that on purpose.
I did do that on purpose. But just an observation. Butch looks like the worst grandfather of all time. Like, if you're like, all right, we're going to take you off and drop you off at Grandpa Butch's house. Like, no, I do not. He makes me pick up sticks in the yard, bro. I hate going to Grandpa Butch's.
My.
Get out
He's
there in the yard.
55.
You're going to run my lawnmower if you don't pick them sticks up out the yard. Grandpa Butch looks like a jerk.
You know, we got a lot of good individuals out here. We're picking up sticks, and it's a 5-star heart you get when you get born into the Jones family.
You better eat that neck bone. Your granny worked hard on that, dadgummit.
Guess where he went to school, real quick. He has something in common with one new Tennessee Titan.
What's that?
Where did he go to school?
Ferris State.
He went to Ferris State?
One of them. One of two.
Really wish I knew what I was talking about.
Well, we got the good version of Ferris State here.
Amen.
Spent more time on the Ferris wheel, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Got him.
It's just fascinating that he's a guy that wants to paint himself as a victim here. And you know what? This is what I was going to say, too. He wanted to talk about another fan base. This almost feels like Michael when he was dating Pam's mom. Now I'm going to date her even more now.
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to date her even harder.
Oh, wow.
Vols fans this weekend, we're going to hate even harder.
We're going to watch even harder. They play Memphis this weekend, though, so that's kind of a prisoner's dilemma for many of us that have diplomas from the University of Tennessee. Do you cheer for Memphis or Butch Jones?
That's a question for
I'm
you,
rolling with
Will.
Memphis on this.
Will?
Yeah.
I'm going to cheer for the referees. I'm going to cheer for the refs.
Will?
I'm not going to cheer for Memphis. Can't do it. I'm going to cheer for the refs, Ramon.
You
Yeah,
cheer
I
for
said
the
Will
refs?
needs to pick.
I really hope they're going to have good calls.
Hard thing for him.
For who, Butch? Or
No,
for Memphis?
for Will to pick Memphis or Butch.
Okay.
That's a big
weekend.
in-state battle between Memphis and Arkansas State.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's one of their higher-selling games right there.
Battle of
At
Arkansas.
the Liberty Bowl right there.
That's right.
It is. No, straight up.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm just,
I
They
love
got
that you let me hate Memphis so much.
They got some of the best barbecue nachos.
well, that's
in the
fine. That's what
land
I would
there.
go for then.
Kayla, in the land there.
I'm
you
down
hear
for
me?
barbecue nachos.
Barbecue nachos. Fire. You don't even put the R on the end
Right.
of it, Kayla. Fire.
Well, another place where there's good food is in New Orleans, where the Titans will take on the Saints this weekend. We've got 3 things each we are most excited to watch. Kayla, lead us off with your number 1.
What I'm most excited to watch is we heard about what Tim Kelly expects this offense to be. Will, what are those 3s again?
Fast, energetic, and exciting.
Okay, so how much are we going
believe.
to see of this fast, energetic offense?
Physical, fast, and energetic.
Fast,
My
and
bad.
energetic offense. How much are we going to see revealed on Sunday against the Saints? I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. We've heard about it. We've seen a little bit during training camp, not so much in the preseason. This is game 1. What do we see out of this supposedly tweaked offense?
No doubt.
Ramon?
And defensively, getting Derek Carr down He has weapons. Michael Thomas is back this week for sure. Seeing him kind of pull it together, or this defense pull it together as one, as whole for once finally, I think it's going to be very unique. You get Jeff, you get Danico together, you get Weaver, you get all of these guys, Harold. I mean, watching this group come together as one on the road, I think is what's going to be one of the more fascinating things.
Yeah, I think for me, it's less of even who is on the field on offense, but what does it look like schematically? Titans had one of the worst offenses in the league last year. They were 5th worst in points, 3rd worst in total yards, tied for last in first downs. They were leading the league in rushing attempts on 2nd and long, according to Warren Sharp from last season. How much more creative is Tim Kelly than Todd Downing? I think that's the number one question that I want to see answered on Sunday, because the offensive line is going to take time. I don't think we can answer all of the personnel questions in 1 week for a team that still isn't completely healthy without its slot receiver in Kyle Phillips, who I think at this point we just can't even really rely on as a starter for this offense until he's a starter for 4 or 5 weeks in a row without being hurt. But it's less for me about what does DeAndre Hopkins look like or what does Chikakonkwo look like. I think those things will be revealed in time as they become more comfortable within this new offense. For me, I just want to see what it looks like, because I think we have no idea based on what we've seen in preseason with Ryan Tannehill taking 3 snaps and handing it off every single time.
Yeah. If we roll into a second one, I already got it queued and teed up. What's up?
Bert, what's your first one?
I don't know what it is, but every offseason I get infatuated with one player. It's always a new player. It's a rookie. It's a free agent signing. And for the Titans this year, it's Arden Key. He has just been as advertised since day one when he walked on the field. So I'm excited to see his impact on defense, how his energy kind of gets the rest of the defense going. And if he can be that guy that he has been in training camp and practice, if he can really add on that, and if he can, this pass rush is about to be ridiculous.
Yep. Number 2?
Yep.
Okay, so I would say, and I don't know how much we're going to see of this, if they can shut down the run and make the Saints one-dimensional, maybe we see a little bit more of, flustering Derek Carr. And then what do we see out of this Titans secondary? This is something in terms of pass defense was not good last year. And we've been talking about it all season, just making those plays. And first and foremost, guys, I guess just not giving up the big plays. Yeah. That's what I want to see some progress in game 1, is not allowing those big plays. That's been an issue that has been harped on, but now can they actually do that and not give up those big chunk plays?
Yeah. Chunk plays.
Number 2?
Number 2 for me, you knew it, the O-line.
Yeah.
And it's for this specific reason. There's only one guy that got 1,000 reps last year, and that's Aaron Brewer. Chris Hubbard's reps in 2022, snap counts, that is, the snap count, how many snaps he played? 39 snaps. Okay, after him, Andre Dillard played 37 snaps in 2022. And Daniel Brunskill played last year, where is it at? 519 snaps. So half a season essentially is what he got out of his career last year. And of course, we know, Peter Skoronski had 0 starts or snaps as far as NFL play goes last year. Watching that group with as minimal of snaps that they've had as a unit come together, find out how they can make 5 as one. The reason I think so many people have put their eyeballs on the offensive line is you realize the importance of it, but you also understand what it takes to be a unit. 5 have to move as one. So I want to see what this lack of snaps does for this group.
Number 2 for me is all about Treylon Burks. Does he look like a different player in games the way he has practice and in training camp? Is this just a training camp story we become infatuated with because there's nothing else to talk about? Or is this something that genuinely translates to the football field? I'm optimistic about Treylon Burks and his success within this Titans offense this season. But I do think we also may have put him as the center of the discussion because he's the most positive story to discuss. We do this a lot in training camp, where the guy who has appeared to make the biggest jump, then once the bullets start flying, doesn't take that step because you get graded on a different scale in training camp. That's not any fault of the media. It's not any fault of Treylon Burks. He's done everything that's been asked of him so far. I need to see that immediately translate because the conversation around him has been such a big one that now you got to show up and you have to live up to those expectations of being a first-round pick that is healthy, who is available through OTAs, who didn't have the asthma and conditioning issues through the offseason. I know the injury to the knee in Minnesota is a part of this discussion as well, but as much as we've talked about Treylon Burks, now it's time to show it. And I think with DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of this offense, Treylon Burks needs to have a good opening act on Sunday in New Orleans.
That's fair.
My second point would be Tajay Spears' usage. We've talked about it all offseason about where he fits in this running back and how he's going to affect how they use Derrick Henry as well. And there's another first-round pick, actually, this offseason, Jahmyr Gibbs, that was highly touted, and we came into it last night thinking he's going to get a ton of usage with the Detroit Lions. And then he ended up only playing 27% of their offensive snaps last night. So this is where the metal meets the road. We're going to find out whether all of our prognostication about how he's going to be used is valid or if he's going to be slowly ramped up into the usage that we've thought he was going to have all offseason.
I will say Jahmyr Gibbs, though.
He had that touchdown.
He had that dog in him last night, too. He had that. He played. If we can get that out of Tajay here, what Jahmyr Gibbs did last night, that's the separator you're looking for right there.
And Tajay has help. I mean, look at who he's running with.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be huge. For me, I know it's the one that not many people want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about this either the rest of the season. So for me, you guys, special teams and Nick Folk specifically, I need to see a clean game. I need to see him hit everything, period. I don't want to have this discussion the rest of the season. I need him to be the kicker. I need him to be counted on. So special teams, keep it crisp.
That's fair.
Ramon?
My last one, 17. What is this going to look like? There's a lot on the line. Not many franchise quarterbacks go into the last year of their deal with no deal on the table. Unless something happens tonight, tomorrow before the game, or Sunday morning, go all out. That's all I'm asking you. Beat the stereotypes. If you're not setting yourself up to be the guy here to force them into a contract, make it somewhere else, man. That's just the reality of the business. I'm not counting Ryan Tannehill out. I'm more of a fan of him than I think most of you guys are, man. I'm not speaking in this studio, but most of this fan base is more out on Tannehill than in. I like the guy. I'm into, and I don't have a relationship with him either. Sure. I'm not holding his water when I say these things. But I'm hoping he shows up this year.
Third one for me is, does the depth help the Titans secondary get off the mat from being the worst pass defense in the NFL last season? They have more bodies. They have more experience. They have a newcomer in Sean Murphy-Bunting who's going to play a big role. Does it make a difference with the entire defensive line healthy to begin the season? I think that's my third one.
Cool.
My third, I'll go with another free agent addition, Azeez Al-Shire. Mm-hmm. He was brought in. He was voted as a captain on his first year on this team that has a lot of veterans, a lot of people who could be leaders, and instead they go to vote for a guy who is his first year in. And I don't think that's a detriment to this team. I think it speaks more to the leadership that he brings. And we've talked about it also about they spent more free agent capital on the inside linebacker position than any other position. They signed 3 dudes, and you got Jack Gibbons starting next to him. I'd love to see a clean game as far as alignment goes, getting guys in the right positions. I'm assuming he's wearing the green dot. And if he can fill in where David Long left off, and if he can play like David Long and also be available, then that's a hell of a snag on a 1-year deal for a free agent.
Coming up, we wrap up the show with final thoughts on Titans and Saints, the football weekend coming up, and a visit. Oh, it's week 1, which means Macho Man Todd Titan is back. Coming up after this. Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center, who understands choosing a hearing care provider is a big decision. And their number one priority at Brentwood Hearing Center is delivering exceptional patient care. Their staff combines many years of expertise in hearing health care, and they're well trained on a variety of services ranging from evaluations to treatment. They believe great care includes establishing great relationships with their patients. And if you feel like you might need hearing technology that helps you hear in crowded environments, maybe you're at dinner with family members, you can't hear the person across from you at the table, well, you need to give them a call. 615-377-0420. Their website is great as well, BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Hearing loss, treating that, it's an ongoing process that requires regular follow-ups. Brentwood Hearing Center will be there to help you every step of the way. Over 30 years, one home, proudly serving Brentwood from the same location for more than 30 years. Remember this number, 615-377-0420, online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Rolling out of here in just a few minutes on RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. As we wrap up the show, special thanks to Sammy Kincaid, Mike Keith, Brent Hubbs for stopping by. And Monday, be ready. The first Reaction Monday of the year. Bring your hot, lukewarm, spicy, and dull takes. We'll take them all at 615-737-1045.
Hey, I don't like being the teacher, but the bell does not dismiss you, Ramon. You can't pack your bags. Don't be packing your bags.
What are you doing?
That's a great line that I've not heard in so long.
I don't know why you're putting your books in your
Wrapping
bag.
up his
I dismiss
his
you.
bottle.
I hated them teachers.
Fresh pair of Gators.
You ain't got nothing left for
sit
us
down.
to talk about, man.
Although I did that
Come on.
too. Guess who just deleted their Twitter account? X account.
Butcher.
Darius Tony.
Did he? Not after the
Bye-bye.
trash that he talked all last year after winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I wonder
bye-bye.
if that was a team advised thing. Like for optics, you should probably just not be on social media. My Schlein.
Interesting. How will we know about his new music now?
Oh, did he have music out too?
Oh, he's a rapper. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
That
him
was
and
a big
Isaiah
thing
Wilson?
in the draft process.
Oh, okay.
my Lord.
So that it's actually another drop for Kadarius Toney is now he's dropped his Twitter account.
Maybe he'll wrap
Bert,
up.
I'm going to give that one a pat on the back, man. I'm going to be real with you. That was
crazy.
solid. That was solid. Couldn't be my
Couldn't be
wide
my
receiver.
teammate.
I saw somebody jokingly, it was that fake stats account on Twitter said Kadarius Toney had more drops last night than Larry Fitzgerald had his whole career. That's not true, but it's enough of a stat where I would actually kind of believe it.
I would have believed
Right?
it.
I would have
definitely
too.
would have believed it.
My favorite one this morning was the tweet of Mahomes. Please catch the ball, Kadarius Toney. I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Bro. Just got a message from my cable provider. That's crazy.
Oh, and what did they say?
They're talking about they're asking me how I rate them.
Oh, okay. Well, a 0, and you're moving on.
They
Zero
must
stars.
know. They must know ball.
Because they're listening.
That was weird.
They can listen to the fact that you're going to cancel it.
I guess
The cord is getting cut and the cord's starting to fight back.
Jeez.
Couldn't be my cable provider.
It couldn't be mine. They should have offered Sunday ticket a whole lot sooner than they have.
We should set an over-under on how long it takes Ramon to cancel his cable today.
Ooh.
By before 3 o'clock today.
Well, I just mean total time. From when you start the call to the end. I'm going to put the over-under at 90 minutes.
That's what makes it so hard.
I'm going over.
You going over?
Yeah.
I could. Yeah.
Take the under.
You just got to be. Unfortunately, I am not the
wait.
person that's mean to people on the phone.
Okay.
Oh,
But
I
you
am.
got to be a little forward with those people and be like, you know what? None of your offers, none of your gimmicks, none of your discounted rates.
To answer your next question, I will not take 20% off.
I do not. I am not going to subscribe to your service anymore. Please cancel it and add me to your do not call list. I love you. Goodbye.
What would be
Right.
the one thing that would make y'all stay? Because they're going to try to offer up something, won't they?
$1 million.
Man, I'm there then.
I'll be
We
a
will-
customer for life.
We will be there no matter what.
Can I bring a few friends with me?
Yeah.
Everybody eats me. Yeah, they're going to try hard.
Free
but
years worth.
I got years.
Free year worth.
And they got to give me.
Of
the
cable.
biggest thing is
Yeah.
they dropped the ball on Sunday ticket.
Exactly.
That's their biggest issue.
You're going to wait on the phone, though, for an hour just to get to a
I got
representative.
time. It's Friday, and I'm acting like it. I got my bottle.
There
You
you go.
understand me? And a fresh pair of Gators.
Okay.
Do I have it? No, I ain't got no Gators. I got those shoes. But
Go buy one.
Be ready next year.
Huh?
We'll be ready next week. Sorry for the Gators. Fresh pair
I'll
of
be
Gators.
ready for next week, though.
Yeah, Florida week also begins next week.
Is that
Woo-wee.
all colleges hate week that week, too?
Early.
What do you mean?
Because everybody's got like a side game this week. Like nobody really has a big game other than A&M, Miami. You
The
got
first conference rivalries typically start up the end of September. Tennessee, Florida is typically one of the first rivalry games of the year in college football.
okay. And, yeah.
Is that earlier this year, though? I feel like it's earlier.
It's usually week 3 or 4.
It oftentimes is week 4 because
Okay.
it's typically the third Saturday in September, and there was the first Saturday in September was a little bit earlier this year.
There it is.
So that's why.
Let's go. Happy birthday, Chig Okonkwo and Josh
Hey,
Wiley.
Before he comes on, too, man, hey, hug somebody, love somebody, call a random person, enjoy each other.
Yes.
You all make it back to us on Monday so we can all revisit with
Let's
one
go.
another. Okay, be safe and enjoy yourselves.
Love it.
But now we go to the phone lines for the first time in the regular season. It is time for Macho Man
Come
Todd
on.
Titan, who joins us, taking us into the weekend with Titans and Saints on Sunday. Todd, take it away.
Yeah.
Sunday is almost here in the hourglass, and the sand is almost empty, yeah. And the Titans are going to head and march into New Orleans, into the Superdome, yeah, and deliver nothing but devastation, yeah. Because New Orleans ain't, yeah. Your confidence level right now is probably at an all-time high, when in fact it should be at an all-time low, because you are looking dead in the center of the danger zone, and the torpedo is about to be fired in the form of the Tennessee Titans, yeah. And after it's all said and done, you're going to be confused and devastated and disappointed, because the Tennessee Titans are going to come out of the Big Easy just like it sounds, a big win with nothing but ease, because the Titans are the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. It's time to tighten up. Big it!